excite all the freaks. Stack mad chips, spread love with my peeps. Looking on the creek, got to watch my back. Think the cognac and endo sack make me slack. I switches all that, I suck a G's up. One false move, get Swiss cheese up. Clip to tech, respect, I demand it. Slip and break the 11th commandment. Thou shalt not, with North Sea Popper. Feel 1,000 deaths when I drop ya. I feel for you like Shaka Khan, I'm the Don. When I want Rolex on the arm, you'll die slow but calm. Recognize my face so there won't be no mistake. So you know where to tell Jake Lane again, brave. Turn front page. Puff Daddy flips daily. I smoke the empty sips on the Baileys, on the rocks. Tote the christenings, hammer cop in the position. What? Man, come here. Open your mouth. Open your, did I tell you don't fuck with me? Huh? Did I tell you not to fuck with me? Huh? Look at you now. Huh? Can't talk with a in your mouth, huh? Look at that. It's what? Who shot you? Who shot you?
Kill 'em all, odd future wolf gang. Kidnap a vampire and drain all his veins. Wolf Grey Jordans uses intestines for the strings. Snatch up Rihanna and throw in front of a train. And sniff a unemployment line of tie Lil B up to a full tank of propane. Swag, now watch him cook. And just stand there and look. Have a bonfire with old Harry Potter books. Martians versus goblins, goons versus the crooks. And since me and Toon had Viacom shook, I should've got a real ass pirate to do the hook. Maybe Jack Sparrow, maybe Peter Pan's nemesis. My power limitless, like Blanco on Sega Genesis. Superhero, mad that Marvel overlooked me, cause Spider-Man and Hulk straight. Mars. Yeah. I'm on Mars. Yeah. I'm on Mars. Yeah, no. Mars. We are not the same, I am a Mars.
A year ago, I was poor somewhat. Now my future's brighter than Christopher's new haircut. Bruno Mars is still sucking L butts in the same closet that Tyler Perry gets clothes from. I suck where the ring pops. You got a better chance of getting a copy of Detox. Wolfgang, we rock. And that was expected like Jason whenever he name drops.
Tyler.
Jesus. Teresa, this gang got Wolf Haley for this feature. My team is running like we have full cleat Adidas. Getting chased by the police is on a full bred cheetah. Bishop Eddie caught me trying to escape. Bag full of Dragon and Nicki Minaj mixtape. Dragging all you to the back of the log cabin. Fall back like LeBron's hairline against the Mavericks. You lost.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Marsh. Get up. Marsh. We are not the same. I am a Marsh. I do, cause Lil Tunchi always bless me. He killed me on my own track, so what? Not you. I spit like I had kids with Erykah Badu. I f***ed her on the day of that naked video shoot. I was sucking them like it was wonton soup. Then I LeBron mom and Bron's cool. With Delonte West taping, we had bonbons too. And Cleveland cheerleaders, they had pom-poms too. So I smacked them wearing Bishop Don Juan suit. Where was Snoop? I don't know, probably doing what the do. But when I'm with my uncle, then I'm a too. And I will Weezy, Jones, and you. Now I'm the dog father walking with a shih tzu. Mad that DC Comics overlooked me, cause Captain America's straight. Marsh. Yeah. Come on. Marsh. Yeah. Come on. Marsh. Get up. Marsh. Come on. It. These lyrics are vivid, they pictures on project walls. 12 feet tall, hell greets y'all. Fire, brimstone, to write a grim poem. Edgar Allan Poe with the flow. Blow the silencer upon the cold nozzles of the faux caliber. No more challenger, bullet show like Gallagher. Ink pens in my hand like a spray paint can. Canvas is your mind, the black Michelangelo. Hands are scope, the Eiffel tote, the mics are broke. Residue leads to a trail, another priest tell. Death I brew, the witch Lord King that rip off wings. When I spit 16, it gets extreme, explicit scene. No more dreams, just cold screams happening. Reoccurring rappers want to perform, they need assurance.
My cyclone poem fixed the roof of the Superdome. You crashed a plane to my building just trying to get on. And it's a vain cold rain, write my words in propane. Keep the heat in store like the stoves in Maytag. Carry more blades and grass in your yard. Grab your rake, I'm original, man on the take. Burn in the shake, roll and blow the solar pharaohs out the blood bank. The Wu Fam armory, my beats got bodies. Know to roll you in the grave with the tip of a shotty. Pasadena lobby, bullet holes from robbery, probably. Veins made of cobblestone, bitches go home wobbly. Capture life like photographs, double stuffed hash. Pyramid serious grin with the verbal whiplash. From the fetus to the overseer, I bleed it. Nigga, you'll climb a crystal mountain just to try to go see it. My life is a movie strip, John Singleton reading. The blood flow like magma, harder than traps of Eden. Send shockwaves like circles from objects dropped in lace, dropped in lace, dropped in lace, dropped in lace.
Pass me the Dutch, I'll fill it up. I wrote this rhyme in the corner like I was a dunce. If I told you twice, I told you once. That's word to the trainer man that sold you fronts. You be number 9, I did not stutter. The sun is my dad, the moon is my mother. Look, dude, there is no other like the three wise men that came from Persia to bless Jesus. Peace to baby Jesus, I'm becoming the Buddha. This is my thesis. I am the chosen. I walked on water that wasn't frozen. And you can talk shit, but look at your lip. Now it's busted, sorta like burgundy, bubbling custard. I don't wanna discuss it. I'm on another level. Come on, man, look at my mustard. That's great, Poupon. What planet you on? You wanna take my oil? I'll show you my rocket. You wanna take my chain? I'll break your eye socket. Kamikaze, you can't stop this divine wind. I'm climbing to reach higher states. You're drowning, sitting on the same corner, frowning. This is LXG, microphone clowning.
My name is what? My name is my name is it's named Sadie. Hi. My name is my name is what? My name is it's named Sadie. Hi. My name is what?
Excuse me.
My name is it's named Sadie.
Can I have the attention of the class
My name
for
is
1 second?
My name is it's named Sadie.
Hi kids, do you like Primus? Wanna see me stick 9-inch nails to each one of my eyelids? Wanna copy me and do exactly like I did? Try this shit and get messed up worse than my life is? My brain's dead weight. I'm trying to get my head straight, but I can't figure out which Spice Girl I wanna impregnate. And Dr. Dre said,
Slim Shady, you a shithead. So why's your face red, man? You wasted.
well, since age 12, I felt like a caged elf who stayed to himself in one space chasing his tail. Got ticked off and ripped Pamela Lee's lips off, kissed him and said, I ain't know silicone was supposed to be this soft. I'm about to pass out and crash and fall in the grass faster than a fat man who sat down too fast. Come here, lady. Shady, wait a minute. That's my girl, dawg. I don't give a damn. Dre sent me to take the world off.
Hi. My name is what? My name is my name is it's named Sadie. Hi. My name is my name is what? My name is it's named Sadie. Hi. My name is what? My name is my name is it's named Sadie. Hi. My name is my name is what? My name is it's named Sadie.
My English teacher wanted to flunk me in junior high. Damn. Thanks a lot. Next semester I'll be 35. I smacked him in his face with an eraser, chased him with a stapler, and told him to change the grade on the paper. Now, walked in a strip club, had my jacket zipped up, served the bartender, and walked out with a tip cup. Extraterrestrial, running over pedestrians in a spaceship while they're screaming at me.
Let's just be friends.
99% of my life I was lied to. I just found out my mom does more good than I do. I told her I'd grow up to be a famous rapper, make a record about doing and name it after.
Here, Mom.
You know you blew up when the women rush your stands and try to touch your hands like some screaming Usher fans. This guy at White Castle asked for my autograph, so I signed it. Dear Dave, thanks for the support, asshole.
Hi. My name is my name is my name is it's named Sadie. Hi. My name is what? My name is my name is it's named Sadie. Hi. My name is my name is my name is it's named Sadie. Hi. My name is what? My name is my name is it's named Sadie.
Stop the tape, this kid needs to be locked away.
Get him!
Dr. Dre, don't just stand there, operate. I'm not ready to leave, it's too scary to die. I'll have to be carried inside the cemetery and buried alive. Am I coming or going? I can barely decide. I just drank a fifth of Kool-Aid. Dare me to drive?
Go ahead.
All my life I was very deprived. I ain't had a woman in years, and my palms are too hairy to hide.
Whoops.
Clothes ripped like the Incredible Hulk. I spit when I talk. I f anything that walks. When I was little, I used to get so hungry I would throw fits. How you gonna breastfeed me, Mom? You ain't got no. I lay awake and strap myself in the bed with a bulletproof vest on and tap myself in the head till I'm steaming mad. And by the way, when you see my dad, ask him if he bought a porno mag and see my ad.
Hi. My name is what? My name is my name is
Today's episode of This Week in Startups is brought to you by
want judges, presidents laid down before the order of the new world goes around. A hit on the Rothschild, a contract on the Dumonts, the Machiavellian lost files. I want judges, presidents laid down before the order of the new world goes around. Do it
crime side, the New York Times side. Staying alive was no job, had second hands. Moms bounced on old men, so then we moved to Shaolin Land. A young youth, you're rocking the go-to. Low goose, only way I begin to G-York was drug loot. And let's start it like this, son. Rolling with this one and that one, pulling out gats for fun. But it was just a dream for the teen who was a fiend. Started smoking wools at 16 and running up in gates and doing hits for high stakes. Making my way on fire skates. No question I was speed for cracks and weed. The combination made my eyes bleed. No question I would flow off and try to get the dough off. Sticking up right boys on board. My life got no better. Same damn low sweater. Times is rough and tough like leather. Figured out I went the wrong route. So I got with a sick tight click and went all out. Catching keys from cross seas. Rolling in MPVs every week. We made 40 G's. Yo, brothers, respect mine. I ain't gonna tech now. Bow, move from the gate now. Survival got me bugging, but I'm alive on arrival. I beat back the shape of the streets to stay awake to the ways of the world. Deep, a man with a dream, with plans to make cream, was fail. I went to jail at the age of 15, a young buck selling drugs and such, who never had much, trying to get a clutch on what I could not touch. The court played me short, now I face incarceration. Pacing, no one upstates my destination. Handcuffed in back of a bus, 40 of us. Life as a shorty shouldn't be so rough. But as the world turned, I learned life was hell. Living in the world no different from a cell. Every day I skate from Jake's, giving chase, selling bass, smoking bones in the staircase. Though I don't know why I chose to smoke cess. I guess that's the time when I'm not depressed, but I'm still depressed. And I ask, what's your work? Ready to give up, so I seek the old earth, who explain working hard may help you maintain. To learn to overcome the heartaches and pain. You got stick-up kids, corrupt cops, and crack rocks and stray shots, all in a block that stays hot. Leave it up to me while I be living proof to kick the truth to the young black youth. With shorties running wild, smoking cess, drinking beer, and ain't trying to hear what I'm kicking in his ear. Neglected for now, but yo, it got to be accepted. That what? The life is hectic.
Harris.
This is gonna feel real good, alright? Most dope. Everybody please put a thumb in the air. Hey. 1, 2, 3, 4. Crazy ass kids gonna knock up on your door, so let 'em in, let 'em in, let 'em in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Crazy ass kids gonna knock up on your door, so let 'em in, let 'em in, let 'em in. I feel like $1,000,000, but my money don't really feel like I do. And from the ground I built my own damn buzz. People was amazed I was still in high school, but now I'm L. And money what I'm about, trying to get so much that I can't keep count. New kicks give me cushion like whoopee. Keep a smile like an eating pork cookie. Everything good, I'm white boy awesome. Up all night, Johnny Carson. I ain't got a Benz, no, just a Honda. But try and get my money like an anaconda. Real long, across the country. Chilling in the whip, no cop can bust me. Driving to the stage, they applaud and scream. All them pretty little girls come and flock to me. Yeah, I rock the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Crazy ass kids gonna knock up on your door, so let 'em in, let 'em in,
23 years old. Fed up with life and the way things are going, he decides to rob a liquor store. But on his way in, he has a sudden change of heart. And suddenly, his conscience comes into play.
Alright, stop. Now before you walk in the door of this liquor store and try to get money out the drawer, you better think of the consequence.
Who are you?
I'm your mother conscience.
That's nonsense. Go in, gap for the money and run to one of your aunt's cribs and borrow a damn dress to one of her blonde wigs. Tell her you need a place to stay. You'll be safe for days if you shave your legs with Renee's razor blades.
Yeah, but if it all goes through like it's supposed to, the whole neighborhood knows you and they'll expose you. Think about it before you walk in the door first. Look at the store clerk, she's older than George Burns.
Bump that, do that, hit that lick. Can you afford to blow this hit? Are you that rich? Why you care if you scared to death? Are you that chick? Do you really think she gets a you have kids?
Man, don't do it, it's not worth it to risk it. Not over this list.
Stop.
Drop the biscuit. Don't even listen to Slim, yo, he's bad for you.
You know what, Dre? I don't like your attitude.
These voices, I hear them. I'll follow.
Meet Stan, 21 years old. After meeting a young girl at a rave party, things start getting hot and heavy in an upstairs bedroom. Once again, his conscience comes into play.
Now listen to me. While you're kissing her cheek and smearing her lipstick, slip this in a drink. Now all you gotta do is nibble on this little chicken's earlobe.
Yo, this girl's only 15 years old. How could you take advantage of her? She's passed out.
It's easy. Just cut these lights out. That's how. Then pick this chicken up, get her off Brad's couch, and leave her on the front porch at her mom and dad's house.
Man, ain't you ever seen that one movie, Kids?
No, but I seen the porno with son Dubious.
You wanna get hard off the jam?
Bump that, drop her off, ring the doorbell, then bell.
These voices, I hear them. I'll follow.
Meet Grady, a 29-year-old construction worker. After coming home from a hard day's work, he walks in the door of his trailer park home to find his wife in bed with another man.
Alright, calm down, relax, start breathing.
Start breathing, man, you just caught your wife cheating. While you at work, she's with some dude trying to get off. Forget getting divorced, cut this chicken's head off.
Wait, what if there's a good explanation for this?
What? She tripped, fell, landed on his...
Alright, Shady, maybe he's right, Grady. But think about the baby before you get all crazy.
Okay, thought about it. Still wanna grab her? Kick her out the house, get your daughter and kidnap her? That's what I did. Be smart, don't be a retard. You gonna take advice from somebody who slapped D-Barnes?
What you say?
What's wrong? Didn't think I remember?
I'ma kill you, you little motherfucker.
Temper. Mr. Dre, Mr. NWA, Mr. AK, coming straight out of Compton, y'all better make way. How in the hell you gonna tell this man not to be violent?
Cause he don't need to go the same route that I went. Been there, done that. Oh, what am I saying? Do them both, Grady. Where's your gun at?
Come on.
Be ready to rock, speed boy. Are you ready to break it out? Break it, see it, shake it out. Yo, this my music. This here gets me ready to rock. DJ, are you willing to mix it up? MC, y'all feeling and rich, yo.
The ever-flowing sets it off on the groove. It's the ultimate groove. It's resulting in movement. The way he bear a mic, be raising the Fahrenheit and take over your body like an alien parasite. You move right, left, right, uppercut, jab. This brother is bad. I put that down on every something I have. I wanna get, I'ma get on my workhorse. Rock with the workforce. Words tossed up in the sky don't make you fly. You taking wild shots, that's why you get denied. Or you can play the game like NBA Live with the brain that you can't contain with AI. My day by day job is to rock this hip-hop into profit. Whether it's freestyling or when I'm into topics, rhyming is my shit, steady climbing the top pick.
The locksmith here to get the party open. I drop shit till I leave the last record broken. Not knowing what's known to be hot, so I make my own flame and blow up the spot. From the bottom to the top, top to the underground. It's all the same now, so let's stop this rain cloud and bring the sunshine back to the front lines. Put the guns down and uplift these young minds. It's like a punchline. How everyone rhymes, claiming to be sick while I'm in working overtime. On the grind, pushing CDs and t-shirts. Live shows, rocking rhymes till my teeth hurt. The mic expert, now in your network. Digging deep into beats, trying to reach pay dirt. Another victory, they can't get with me. So kill the TV and go learn your history.
This, my music, this here gets me ready to rock. B-boy, are you ready to break it out? Just break it, dizzy and shake it out. Yeah, this, my music, this here gets me ready to rock. DJ, are you willing to mix it up? MC, start killing and rip shit up.
You know Finetta style, got niggas beating their air down, forgetting how to act, they pump their fist to the rare sound. Called it in 05, we be on in 07, said 08 is ours with no doubts and no questions. Building with my brethren ever since the conception of the Ant Farm affiliates. Shutting down your session, hip-hop is an art form, broken into 5 sections. We're here to take it back like a Dion interception. You can't see us, cause you lack depth perception. Swollen ass head, ego is your infection. Thinking you're too hard, elongated erection. If I'm sending you now, it's for your own protection. Take a page from Maxwell, get smart and respect. Don't disrespect the art, get caught in a drag net. I have yet to be impressed by this new make.
Et Jimmy 2 fois, qu'on avait surnommé comme ça parce qu'il répétait tout 2 fois. Comme... Je vais chercher des clopes, je vais chercher des clopes.
Wesh Renoir. Jimmy 2 fois.
C'est easy, easy, ça se passe ici, ici. C'est lourd, oui, 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 oui. Pas quel city, city. Une à une, mes casses s'allument comme dans Billy Billy. Jean, millionnaire en euros, milli. Mes dernières vidéos en wifi, wifi. J'aime les défis, les fans, mi. J'suis le meilleur, j'te mets Fanny, t'es fini, nini. Ridicule en mode aplati d'un panini. Je suis venu, j'ai vu, j'ai vici. Trop de vlodra dans ce game comme un cliché. Parle à ma secrétaire, j'suis busy. Ou bien va niquer ta mère, comme dirait toi. Sur la gauche, je swag. Sur la droite, automatique sur les genoux. Bouteille de Jack sur la table. Premier samedi du mois, on décrypté sur la 4. Gros décolleté, 9 de I, tatoué sur la chatte. J'suis Super Mario, t'es Luigi. T'emmènes ta go dans l'Ontario, moi au Fiji. J'aime les gros culs, pas les go skinny. Les meufs des îles bientôt tuent, je leur dis fini. Mon expression est directe, demande à Weedy. J'veux la chatte à Fatoumata, la chatte à Windy. B2O, ours, grizzly. Les gros bandits aux arbres, dans le Mississippi. J'suis traumatisé, depuis à la 09 aromatisé. J'suis deux spi. Homme d'affaires, j'ai ralenti le touchy. Avoir les idées claires, laisser le peur à un swag sur la gauche, je swag sur la droite, automatique sur les genoux, bouteille de Jack sur la table. Premier samedi du mois, on décrypté sur la 4. Gros décolleté, 9 de I, tatoué sur la chatte. Fondant au chocolat, au dessert, mi-cuit. Le rap français sur le grésil, j'fais mi-choui. J'suis dans le strip club, j'suis Hyer. J'suis pas au Pink Paradise, j'suis à Miami. Avec mon pote, la franchise, Jimmy. Minimum 4-0 en poche, pas moins de 10 000. Moi légal mort, t'es sur tes pas, chacun est suivi. Donc si tu aimes quelqu'un, dis-lui.
Sunshine in a bag
useless, but not for long. The future is coming on. I ain't happy, I'm feeling glad. I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless, but not for long. The future is coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on.
Finally, someone let me out of my cage. Now, time for me is nothing cause I'm counting no age. Nah, I couldn't be there. Nah, you shouldn't be scared. I'm good at repairs and I'm under each snare. Intangible. Bet you didn't think, so I command you to. Panoramic view. Look, I'll make it all manageable. Pick and choose, sit and lose. All you different crews, chicks and dudes who you think is really kicking tunes. Picture you getting down in a picture tube, like you lit the fuse. You think it's fictional, mystical, maybe. Spiritual hero who appears in you to clear your view when you're too crazy. Lifeless to those, the definition for what life is. Priceless to you because I put you on the hype shit. You like it? Gun smoke, you're righteous with one toke. You're psychic among no possess you with one go.
I'm feeling glad. I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless, not for long. The future is coming on. I ain't happy, I'm feeling glad. I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless, but not for long. The future is coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on.
The essence, the basics, without it you make it. Allow me to make this childlike in nature. Rhythm, you have it or you don't, that's a fallacy, I'm in them. Every sprouting tree, every child of peace, every cloud and sea. You see with your eyes and see destruction and demise. Corruption in the skies from this enterprise. Now I'm sucked into your lives through rust, so not as muscles, but percussion to provide with me as a guide. Y'all can see me now cause you don't see with your eye. You perceive with your mind, that's the end. So I'ma stick around with Russ and be a mentor. Bust a few rhymes so motherfuckers remember what the thought is. I brought all this so you can survive when law is lawless. Feeling sensations that you thought was dead. No squealing, remember that it's all in your head.
I ain't happy, I'm feeling glad. I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless, not for long. The future is coming on. I ain't happy, I'm feeling glad. I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless, not for long. My future is coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. My future is coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. My future is coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. My future.
Take me to that old familiar place. Take me to memories we won't erase. Take me to all that we had, good and the bad. I'll never forget you. I'll never let you go. I'll never forget you. I'll always remember.
Let the record reflect the records we set. Best foot forward with every step, and let's push towards it. Never regress, and let's remember if ever we get down the places that we came from round, and all the good times on the bad side of town. The upside of bad, flip it upside down. Came from the bottom, but we up high now. Believe, and from this view we achieved. We look back at the rules we received and how we broke those, dismantled and rewrote those. And the ghost still alive in the photos. Sounds of the summer, day and go wise. Cold wind blowing through a city on fire. Moments of the past came here to find you, not to relive them, just to remind you.
Take me to that old familiar place. Take me to memories we won't erase. Take me to all that we had, good and the bad. I'll never forget you.
been show. The future's so bright, it's never been more. Not like tonight, we walk into the glow, right into the light. The past all around us, the time of our life. The first love kisses, the broke heart disses. This is just like a first class ticket. Back to the first written rap. The crumbled up paper and the pen with no cap. The hand-me-down clothes and the unturned hat. The hookers on the corner and the kids selling crack. The needles in the yard where we used to play catch. Stories from the projects we could never go at. A two. These are shades of my youth, trials of a child, everything truth, moments of the past, coming back to find us, not to relive them, just to remind us.
Take me to that old familiar place. Take me to memories we won't erase. Take me to all that we had, good and the bad. I'll never forget you. I'll never let you go. I'll never forget you. I'll always remember you know. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Everything cherished, remembered in my heart, so you will never perish, you will never part. I tell them all about you, drumming in the park. We put you in the ground, but I see you in the stars. Go and take a bow, a round of applause. The best that ever, always ready we are. Love always shines, that's how I find you. In case you forgot, I hope this reminds you.
Take me to that old familiar place. Take me to memories we won't erase. Take me to all that we had, good and the bad. I'll never forget you. I'll never let you go. I'll never forget you. I'll always remember you know. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I like the players. No diggity, no doubt. Play on, play it. Play on, play it. Yo, Dre, drop the verse.
It's going down, fade to Black Street. The homies got at me, collab creations. Bump like agony, no doubt. I put it down, never slouch. As long as my credit can vouch, a dog couldn't catch me. Say out. Tell me who could stop with Dre making moves, attracting honeys like a magnet, giving them orgasms with my mellow accent. Still moving this flavor with the homies Black Street and Teddy, the original rough shakers.
Shorty get down, good lord. Baby got 'em open all over town. Strictly bitch, you don't play around. Cover much grounds, got game by the pound. Getting paid is a forte, each and every day. True player way. I can't get her out of my mind. Wow. I think about the girl all the time. Wow, wow. East side to the west side, pushing fat rides, it's no surprise. She got tricks in the stash, stacking up the cash, fast when it comes to the gas. By no means average, it's on when she's got to have it. Baby, you're a perfect 10, I wanna get in. Can I get down so I can? I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up. Bag it up. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up. Bag it up, girl. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up. Bag it up. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up.
She's got class and style, street knowledge by the pound. Baby never act wild, very low key on the profile. Catching feelings is a no, let me tell you how it goes. Curves the word, spins the verb, lovers it curves so freak what you heard. Rolling with the fatness, you don't even know what the half is. You got to pay to play, just for shorty bang bang to look your way. I like the way you work it, trump tight all day, every day. You're blowing my mind, maybe in time, baby I can get you in my ride.
I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up. Bag it up. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up.
Bag it up, babe.
I like the way you work it. No diggity, no diggity. I got to bag it up. Get up. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Hey yo, that girl looks good. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Play on, play on, play on. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. You're my kind of girl. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Hey yo.
Cause that's my peeps and we roll deep. Flying first class from New York City to Blackstreet. What you know about me? Now the thing, Cartier wooded frame sported by my shorty. As for me, icy gleaming pinky diamond ring. We bees the baddest click up on this scene. Ain't you getting bored with these fake roars? High shows improves, no doubt. I've been thinking so. Please excuse if I come across rude, that's just me. And that's how a player's got to be. Stay kicking game with a capital G. Ask the peoples on my block, I'm as real as can be. Word is born. Faking moves never been my thing. So Teddy, pass the word to your nigga Chauncey. I'll be sending the call, let's say around 3:30. Queen Pen and Black.
No diggity. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. Yeah. Come. Back in full effect. Lisa in full effect. Ride. Nikki in full effect. Tamika in full effect. Yeah. Lays in full effect. Ride. Ain't nothing going on but the red. No doubt. Yeah. Play on, play it. Play on, play it. Play on, play on, play on, play on. Cause I like it. Ride. No diggity. No doubt. Yeah. Blackstreet Productions. We out, ride. We out.
Made for rap C's like Catamaran. And I got a crush on a girl that sang the lang. Dope MC like Sip Yin Yang. Slang, my slang is ostentatious. Flipping them scripts, them Ellen pages. So contagious, so courageous. Goodness gracious, let me say this, that it's my time for breaking through. Cause the clock is ticking too. Cook the beats with flavor brew. Like my man Santosh Naidu. In divide individual. This is some audio visual itch for you. Oh, them haters, kick crusaders like Batman. I punch them out. Bam!
You could be bumping your chick, yo. You should be thinking about it and think to yourself. You better think about it. You better think about it. You better think about it. Don't get too low.
What's up, girl?
Nothing.
What you doing?
Just here chilling.
Gonna drop this?
Go ahead,
Wish those kids watch Hanna-Barbera. I wish I had another me like Keegan and Sarah. I wish I had a girlfriend that looked like Farrah Fawcett. Why should I keep it in the closet? I once fell in love with this girl named Lauren. Compared to Lauren, all them girls were boring. Then I went away on tour, and when I came back, Lauren had a boyfriend. I said, yo, Al, will you marry me? Will you take me to the altar and rescue me? She said, I'm not down with the groupie scene and all those girls on computer screens. Oh man, that's what you see on the surface. I wouldn't pop the question if you didn't deserve this. When they act high post fellas, they're real nervous. That's why I break out.
You could be bumping your chick, yo. You should be thinking about it and think to yourself. You better think about it. You better think about it. You better think about it. Don't get too low.
I'm slowing down thought to the point of observation. I came from galaxy to represent this hip-hop nation. I'm kicking the same old game with no name. Fame in the astral plane is ordained. Flame on, kick it to the break of dawn. Evaporating, I'm gone.
You could be bumping your chick, yo. You should be thinking about it and think to yourself. You better think about it. You better think about it. You better think about it. Don't get too low.
Yep, I sure can.
You better think about it. You better think about it.
Yeah, sound okay? I'm gonna try to switch to this microphone. Second.
It feels so good to be back. Ladies and gentlemen, introduce some never been the type to bend or budge. The wrong button to push. No friend or bush. I'm the centerpiece. You're a Maltese. I'm a pit bull off his leash. All this peace talk can cease. All these people I had to leave in limbo. I'm back now. I've come to release this info. I'll be brief and let me just keep simple. Don't want no beef with Slim. No, not even on my radar. So won't you please jump off my lay off and stay off and follow me as I put these crayons to chaos from seance to seance. Come on now, let's all get on down. Don't see no man, we gon' have a good round. Don't be scared, 'cause there ain't nothing to worry about. Let your hair down. Come on now, let's all get on down. Don't see no man, we gon' have a good round. Don't be scared, 'cause there ain't nothing to worry about. Let your hair down. Let your hair down to the track, yeah, kick on back. The boogie monster of rap, yeah, the man's back with a plan to ambush this Bush administration. Mush the Senate's facing, push this generation of kids to stand and fight for the right to say something you might not like. This white hot light that I'm under, no wonder I look so sunburned. Oh no, I won't leave no stone unturned. Oh no, I won't leave, won't go nowhere. Do-si-do, oh yo ho, hello there. Oh yeah, don't think I won't go there. Go to Beirut.
Yeah, 1 second.
Yeah, you laugh till your mother gets drafted when you're at bank.
Testing, is that better? 1 second.
Open the plastic and then you stand back gasping. Assassins hijacking Amtrak's crashing. All this terror, America demands action. Next thing you know, you got Uncle Sam's asking to join the army or what you'll do for that Navy. You just a baby getting recruited at 18. You're on a plane now eating their food and their baked beans. I'm 28, they gon' take you for they take me. Crazy insane or insane crazy. When I say insane, you say shady. My views
Testing, 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 testing. Is that better? Okay.
Nothing soothes me more than a groove that boosts me. Nothing boosts me more, suits me beautifully. There's nothing you can do to me. Stab me, shoot at me. Psychotic, hypnotic product, I got it, the antibiotic. Ain't nobody hotter, and so on and yada yada. Gotta talk a lot of hum-da-da-la-la-la, uchi-walla-walla, da-da-da-da. But you gotta keep moving. There's more music to make. Keep making new shit, produce hits to break the monotony. What's gotten into me? Drugs, rock, and Hennessy. Thug like I'm Pac on my enemies. On your knees, got you under siege. Somebody you would give a lung to be. Hungry like a younger me. The fee, I can get you jump for free. Yeah, buddy, laugh, it's funny. I have the money to have you killed by somebody who has nothing. I'm past bluffing, past the KY. Let's get ready for some intense, serious. Now let's all get on down. Don't uttering utter chaotic, problematic madness. Witness the watcher, witnessing is calm and collected. He peaks and different, gets it down to the molecule. Doesn't bother who's it's rooted in chaotic order, which is who's the knowledge of logical order. If you follow it's splendid, if not, it's simply not affected. Only observes it, perching. Certain blurs deserve attention, worth a mention. Projected for the wise off the eye of the owl, reflected.
Yep. Okay, is this going to be live or are we recording it? Okay, cool, sounds good.
Peace ain't working. I'm ready to
hurricane. Go live entertainment. Polo grind. Call it Paul, you a fool for this one, baby. Hey, see, this how players rock. It don't like the way that she actin', then I'ma tell her back. How you gon' play a player, girl? You know how players rock. Game recognized game, and I've been running game a lot. Never get caught in my life. Cross my heart and hope to die. Players don't like the way that she actin', I tell her back. How you gon' play a player, girl? You know how players rock. Game recognized game, and I've been running game a lot. Never get caught in my life. Cross my heart and hope to die. Players rock. Say this how 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 players rock. Everything was cool. We was feeling each other. Chilling in the jacuzzi, just water, no bubbles. You know me, I keep it gutter. Hit it until you stutter. Then she got to asking me questions like she was undercover. Like who was that little chick that I let ride up in my ride? I'm a pimp, so it ain't nothing for me to think of a lie. But I'd rather keep it real and tell her just how I feel. Look at here, if you see me with another chick, then it's just what it is. You ain't my main thing, I just beat you out the frame. Baby, I'm hurricane, you gotta stay in your lane. Stick to the script of a pimp and follow my gutter rules. And if you feel like you wanna leave, then do what you do. Baby, you think I'ma cry just because I lost you? Every time I lose one, I bounce back with two. How you think I got you? Somebody got laid out. I'm a pimp, I pimp a chicken until she get played out. Say this how players rock. 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 When she actin', then I'ma tell her back. How you gon' play a player, girl? You know how players rock. Game recognized game, and I've been running game a lot. Never get caught in my life. Cross my heart and hope to die. Players don't like the way that she actin', I tell her back. How you gon' play a player, girl? You know how players rock. Game recognized game, and I've been running game a lot. Never get caught in my life. Cross my heart and hope to die. How players rock. Say this 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 how players rock. Say that mama, let me get it in a minute. Make it wanna give it to me like you never gave it up before. And I better make you more so my voice when I pull up in the Rolls Royce. Holla with a hit, go pull up fresh in the back, then low, slow mo, no low. You can see my eye. Everybody hollering that boy so fly. And all I gotta do is get it in my ride. Bet $1 million I can make it go live. Let me the chick in the world I can make a mine. Put it in the whip now, put it on the thigh. Take a shot of Patron now, finna go live. And then she told me that she want me to cut her, but she ain't want me to use a rubber, no rubber, no rubber. I'm feeling like you trying to get me caught up. No disrespect, little mama, but that's just how I was brought up. If I can't use protection when I cut, then it ain't no cut. I can't picture me going and you raw, that just ain't what's up. Little mama, I'm a pimp and I would never get caught in my life. Cross my heart and hope to die. Girl, you know how players rock. She actin', then I'ma tell her back. How you gon' play a player, girl? You know how players rock. Game recognized game, and I've been running game a lot. Never get caught in my life. Cross my heart and hope to die. Players don't like the way that she actin', I tell her back. How you gon' play a player, girl? You know how players rock. Game recognized game, and I've been running game a lot. Never get caught in my life. Cross my heart and hope to die. Players rock. Say this how 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 players rock. And then she told me that she want me to cut her, but she ain't want me to use a rubber, no rubber, no rubber. And then she told me that she want me to cut her, but she ain't want me to use a rubber, no rubber, no rubber, no rubber, no rubber.
How we do it.
Terror, it's a bunch of bull. Just a poor excuse for you to use up all your bullets. How much money does it take to really make a full clip? 9/11 building 7, did they really pull it?
and a bunch of other cover-ups. Your child's future was the first to go with budget cuts. If you think that hurts, then wait, here comes the uppercut. The school was garbage in the first place, that's on the up and up. Keep you at the bottom, but tease you with the upper crust. You get it, then they move it, so you never keeping up enough. If you turn on TV, all you see's a bunch of what the dude is dating so-and-so, blabbering about such and such, and that ain't Jersey Shore. Homie, that's the news, and these the same people supposedly telling us the truth. Limbaugh is a racist, Glenn Beck is a racist, Gaza Strip was getting bombed, Obama didn't say. That's why I ain't vote for next one either. I'm a part of the problem, my problem is I'm peaceful, and I believe in the people. Yeah! It's a never heard it, but if we know better, then we probably deserve it. Jihad is not holy war, where's that in the worship? Murdering is not Islam, and you are not observant. And you are not a Muslim. Israel, don't take my side, cause look how far you've pushed them. Walk with me into the ghetto, this where all the went. Complain about the liquor store, but what you drinking liquor for? Complain about the gloom, but when you pick a broom up, just listen in the pot, ain't gon' make it stop. A rebel in your doubts, ain't gon' make it out. If you don't become an actor, you'll never be a factor. Pills with million side effects, take them when the pain's felt. Wash them down with diet soda, killing off your brain cells. Crooked banks around the world would gladly give a loan today, so if you ever miss a payment, they can take your home away. Worse than all the violence. Fear is such a weak emotion, that's why I despise it. We scared of almost everything, afraid to even tell the truth. So scared of what you think of me, I'm scared of even telling you. Sometimes I'm like the only person I feel safe to tell it to. I'm locked inside a cell in me, I know that there's a gel in you. Consider this your belling out, so take a breath and hell a few. My screams is finally getting free, my thoughts is finally yelling down.
Street Science, you're on the air. What do you feel when you hear a record like Tupac's new one?
I love Tupac's new record.
Right, but don't you feel like that creates tension between East and West? He's talking about killing people. I had sex with your wife, and not in those words. But he's talking about, I want to see you deceased.
No doubt. To live and die in L.A. California. What you say about Los Angeles? Still the only place for me. It never rains in the sun.
To live and die in L.A., where every day we try to fatten our pockets. Us against hustle for the cash, so it's hard to knock it. Everybody got their own thing coming, so chasing worldwide through the hard times, worrying faces. Shed tears as we bury getting close to heart. What was a friend, now a ghost in the dark. Cold part about it, getting got smoked by a fiend. Trying to floss on him, blind to a broken man's dream. A hard lesson, court cases keep him guessing. Plea bargain ain't an option now, so I'm stressing. Cost me more to be free than a life in the pen. Making money off of cuss words, writing again. Learn how to think ahead, so I fight with my pen. Late night down, sunset, like in the zen. What's the worst they can do to a nigga? Got me lost in hell to live and die in L.A. on bail. My angel sing.
New York, BK, Bronx, Staten Island, Queens, yeah. New Jersey, the dirty, West Coast, yo. Understand that the life we live is hard, but we get by as righteous kids. Really from the Bill to the Boulevard, where young guards got bully hard. Now walk as hoodie squads, swift ninjas with full scars, taking large pulls from cigars, relax and meditate in the zone. Every day spitting it off, but anyway, just to get it off the chest. Intrigue, we heavyweights, intrigue where many blaze. Vast imagination gains scars of lacerations, caught up in a labyrinth of madness and fast papers. Soon kids gonna spit lasers in places with skyscrapers and pages. Every day we learn, every day we burn. Under hot suns, blazing like hot ones. Every day we learn, every day we turn to make right, knowing the basics. Sky's the limit. Stay up with the wisest women, mothers who strive through it all with daughters and sons. Cooking food, braiding hair and calling it fun. When we play cousins and all in the sun. Bright days, now we all the time trying to write blaze on streets, dodging the law, creating concepts and situations. Got me pacing up and down the walls, about to write on those like I ain't got enough papers. Struggling all, still bubbling balls, celebrating another day that we made it. Tracks that are lasers, catch that cut on a fader. Fables in nature, the earth be turning like pages. Every day we learn, every day we burn. Under hot suns, blazing like hot ones. Every day we learn, every day we turn to make right, knowing the basics. For my moms, I write you a letter, saying things that get better. Times in our life I'll never forget. Sometimes I feel over the edge, days with feelings consumed with stress. Trying to escape, feeling depressed, trying to live right, doing my best, but can't pass certain regrets. Times awaken and it's hard to move forward. We trying to maintain doing the thing, often hard till I'm in the coffin, returning back to the essence. No more of these earthly stressings. From you I learned lessons, from pops through hard times. I keep focused to gain perspective, fresher than God's blessings.
I know you hating on me because I'm famous. I know you hating on me because I'm famous. I know you hating on me because I'm famous. They all know what my name is. I know you hating on me because I'm famous. I know you hating on me because I'm famous. I know you hating on me because I'm famous. They all know what my name is.
I know you're hating on me because I'm famous. So I got a mortgage to move from the haters. Yeah, I keep it old school with no blazers. All around a star in the hoods on my bases. Get mine early, but I'm in the latest. I ain't gotta spend a penny cause of my status. And I got a pretty little something, she's dangerous. When it comes to girlfriends, I keep mine nameless. Once in a while I roll like I ain't famous. Yeah, my chain got popped outside faces. Pricks must have seen that bling independent. Next day I got it back cause I know majors. Back to my music, back to my papers. Back to the paparazzi stopping our faces. Back to my boy who's discussing my wages. One by one I rub my mind like a razors.
I know you hating on me because I'm famous. I know you hating on me because I'm famous.
What's it look like?
Because I'm famous. They all know what my name is. I know you hating on me
because I'm famous.
I know you hating on me
because I'm famous.
I know you hating on me
because I'm famous. They all know what my name is. Yeah, I came from the gram house, now I'm in the mainstream. Some say I lost it, now I'm in the whole keys. Like I never made underground with Kofi. That's why I be bossing them around cause they know me. Now let me proceed. Them man are driving at a slow speed. I'm tryna lap them like I'm running from the police. Them man are tryna be the old me. They're chilling back in 03 when I'm on the podium with trophies. Yeah, and now I go all out. I'm in black but my diamonds are all out. So take time when we fall out. I ain't buying your cheap tool but I can afford that. Yeah, you do you, let me do me. Had a couple number ones, let me get free. More, or maybe that's greed. Third album, first strike, everything's free.
I know you hating on me because I'm famous. I know you hating on me because I'm famous.
What's it look like?
I know you hating on me because I'm famous. They all know what my name is.
Looks right.
I know you hating on me
because I'm famous.
I know you hating on me
because I'm famous.
I know
she rollers on the BB, living like a rock star, born in the 80s, certified on top charts, I ain't doing maybes, that's why I be asking them, how we looking lately, cause they never answered, I'm taking it as flea G, flea, yeah, now I'm heavy round the Atlas, good CV, where I'm looking for a night shift, that's when the full star shine bright, I done told them I'm looking for a hat trick, flea gang strider, and now I'm famous, even my ex-girlfriend's little niece knows what my name is, different level.
Tyler, can we swap you out? We gotta get this next set going.
Where's this guy go?
Just with Carol.
Matt, can you get up?
Alright, that guy's gotta go over there, right?
I thought we just whiteboard the whole back.
I think we put one over there for the sponsor.
I was told we don't have one.
Oh, we don't have a sponsor?
That's, yeah.
Alright, let's just put him straight back on.
Okay.
Pull a little closer, you're gonna pull. What's it like?
Here, push. There, there.
We're gonna hate it. I hate it, y'all. 3 guests and Ryan in the corner?
No, it should be 2 guests. 2 guests. Ryan.
Oh, okay. 3 guests. Alright. Alright, then you're good, right?
Yeah, let's.
The what?
No corner.
Put Ryan in the corner, 2 guests at the dinner.
Okay.
Same side.
Does anyone know computer situation for any of them?
They all have Macs.
Okay. Alright.
Good. I know that.
Okay. So yeah, let's have Jose be IBGA. I'll be the other.
What happens if someone does have a PC? Do we have our sponsor or?
The thing is, like, we could just have them do IBGA basically, since there's no specific,
Hey, we're gonna have a Mac available for Daniel Kerr, right? Like a in-studio Mac that he can use once he comes into the business.
Yeah.
Short.
Yeah. Let's just give him one of these. Let's set up one of these Macs for. I'm gonna be right here. I guess we could just have Ari be right here, and our other guest.
It's usually guest Ari Jose.
Mm-hmm. We'll have the guest right here. We'll have Jose right there, and Ari right there.
Hey, Brandon.
What's up?
I put up, I can't remember if I told you this before, I put up a new full screen and 3 lower thirds. All they are forced for, like, if he mentions Twitter, Facebook, or Justin. He just wanted those available. So they're in the Dropbox. Okay, I'll grab this. Cool. Sorry about that at the last second. That's okay. Thank you very much.
Alright, can I get you sit over here just so I can frame you in?
Yeah, give me a second, because I gotta get the, guest all ready. Alright.
No, when you're in, I'll do that.
Yeah. Because we're already gonna have 3 people in there.
like we have basically 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
Those are dedicated tape down here, and if we ever go for a 4th, we plug right into this jump out box, plug that 4th one, and then you have, you know, it's like an XLR cable and route it to wherever you know, the corner or wherever you need it to be.
Right.
But for some reason, they had someone in the corner and they didn't want to use 4, so they switched in the back 3 and 4 because they only had 3 people and they didn't want to use input 4 for some reason.
Okay.
Because I don't know, it disorients them, I guess. So that it doesn't make much sense, and that's why I didn't really test for it.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
So that's kind of why. Like I was told that basically, like, you know how we have cameras 1, 2, 3, 4, and we count it out 1, 2, 3,
Right,
4 just from
yeah.
proximity. Well, they'll do 1, 2, flip that camera, route it to 4.
Flip which camera? This or that?
They'll flip one of these 2 cameras that are here to make their corner camera.
Right.
So, but they want to make it 4 as their last shot, so they'll literally reroute camera 2's input and 4's input.
Mm-hmm.
When really they could just cut to 2, and it's just I don't know, they have their ways. So just beware of that on Mondays.
Right.
I thought since it was Tuesday, perhaps it was taken care of. My mistake. You want me to sit in for what was that?
No, it's all good, man. You know,
It's
if
just
you were here, you know, if you were here 5 days a week, you'd
yeah.
have that workflow down.
And I wasn't expecting a pollock punch on Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
That was the thing.
Well, the thing is,
like,
dude,
well,
we didn't
fine on
fucking
Monday.
touch this studio yesterday. We had.
Why didn't you?
There's nothing to shoot.
Seems like a problem. Sounds like a problem.
That's me
It's true.
being lazy.
Let's throw Brandon on the bus for today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, we now know who dropped the ball.
Yeah.
It's the guy in the
You
flag.
did it.
Sam? Turn on. Back on. Hey, what's up?
Oh yeah?
Justin. No.
Oh, that was my, yeah.
Larry.
What? No.
It's not Larry.
No, it's Larry.
Yeah.
You do makeup? laptop here.
We'll have him sit here, and then Ari can sit right there.
Great. Let me set up my laptop.
Are you gonna set a laptop over here just so it looks
Can
like
you
this?
can you sit here? Can this be?
But no, Ari likes it there.
I can sit anywhere, man.
Okay.
I can sit, you know,
No,
anywhere you want.
sit there. Give him the laptop there, and
No,
let Ari sit in the same place it was last week. I just also don't like changing the Ari's.
It's your show, man.
No, it's Jesus' show.
It is
I only do it
Jesus'
for the glory.
That's right.
Alright, so this will be stuff for Ari.
You're just the agent.
I'm just but a conduit.
You are
Of the web. Of the
Right.
web.
So if you can do me a favor and just thread up to about the second button, and then I can do the final placement.
Hey Brandon, I just slammed it.
Or if you're comfortable with me doing it, like
I just didn't understand what
Oh,
you said.
sorry.
Thread up doesn't like this.
Yeah.
Alright.
That works great.
But yeah, I was gonna have you like do that for me, but you know, I thought it might be.
Sometimes it's just like
Yeah. This is gonna be a colorful day. I'm
I
actually
wouldn't
gonna
bother.
Important
You
stuff.
may hear me from those speakers over there, and I may ask you to count to 10.
I gotta talk to you after the show.
Thanks.
Whenever you're ready, can I
Yeah,
mic you?
give me 1 second. Let me.
Sure thing.
I actually might go use the restroom facilities.
After you tucked in your dong on the camera, you want to use it before?
Did you see that?
Camera's
Live in the world.
We are streaming.
We are streaming.
No, long tugging.
Mics are
Oh, is that how it's live?
Let me go pee real quick.
Hey Sam.
I had some
Mics are
headphones
hot
in my
right now,
pocket,
but
so I don't
like,
want to make
we're
sure
not
I
audio while we set up. So
Got
Okay.
it. Don't say anything stupid.
don't lose my headphones.
You've done this before.
Don't say anything I regret. I work at a corporation. Know what it's about. Don't want to get fired.
Ryan, are you wired or?
I can be.
Okay.
Eric, did you remind you of the name of the
No, I'll mention it when I guess when he gets in here. Yeah, because it depends how deep we go into what issues there are. I mean, even if I keep it super high level, someone may be like,
No, I
because
just say you're an in-house graphic designer.
yeah, I mean, if we don't say the name, we might be able to talk about more issues that corporations go into in the different situations, the different personalities.
Ari.
That way they don't feel like I'm pigeoning them out.
How did it go? Did it work out okay? Yeah. I like it.
This room is so much bigger on the bottom.
I know it's
Studio Magic. They have no
The Black
light.
Void does some miracles.
Do you see all the new
does.
iPad Photoshop apps that they just announced yesterday?
iPad Photoshop apps.
iPad, Android tablets. Adobe announced 6 new apps. One of them being Photoshop, another one being like a Illustrator Lite, like a vector doodle program. Another one I didn't do too much research.
So you draw with your finger, or what's the deal? You can use like a. Wow, that's
Like
pretty
Wacom
cool.
actually makes a little stylus called the Bamboo, I think, but one of the weird ones that they had was I didn't do any research on it other than I saw that there's like a web development app, like a little like there's like a whiteboarding kind of wireframing app, but then also like a development app.
Yeah, I read that.
I was really surprised.
I read that just in case you wanted to talk about it.
So real quick, gents, one of the things I'm really excited to have Eric on the show, for a lot of reasons, but.
Hey, sorry to interrupt you, but that's your. Hey, can you go back to that full screen, please?
Oh, nice.
So you have a full screen. So if at any one moment, like either at the beginning or end, you want to talk about all 3 at once, that will come up.
Let's do it right at the beginning.
If during the show you mention it, they'll put the lower third up.
So my campaign, by the way, is for viewership and for friends to tell friends.
Yes.
So like right now we're on like a what do you call it? PBS.
NPR.
Sorry, NPR. Yeah. Viewership drive. We need to do this a lot more organized. Let's talk about it afterwards. He's dead, no? He's on.
Corey's alive, but he's
If we don't mention farmers insurance
Would be good.
names, because
Yeah.
that way we can talk more specific. If you want to talk
So that's what I was going to talk
tools,
about
people.
before Ryan rudely interrupted me.
No worries.
What I wanted to talk to you about was your experience as a designer, personally growing as a web designer. What challenges do you find? And again, we're not talking about farmers.
Got
We're
it.
just talking about what challenges do you
Got it.
find. When I introduce you, do you want me to say designer at or no? So you can just be a group school and this weekend web design fan, a designer. Where did you go to school? Was that
CSUN, Cal State University Northridge. I mean, you can say in-house designer at a corporation if you want to keep it high
you're
level.
You're an in-house corporate designer.
Yeah,
Perfect.
something high level like that.
Got it.
So they understand what culture I'm
I need a mouse.
coming from. That might help.
You
them.
need a mouse?
All right, Disney SOW is going through things.
So this is like.
Goddamn corporations and their 45-day pay.
Is this like your school where I don't look at the camera?
No. Well, no. Yeah. The camera's not there. It's us
Got it.
having a conversation.
Got it.
No,
that's
and
then this weekend
what's it called? Rose.
I believe Jose does.
Charlie Rose. Oh, thank you very much. Same mouse from last week. I love it. Logitech. So let's do a quick outline here. We're at 2:33. I want to start on time. So again, today. We're gonna do. We're not gonna talk about doing this. And we're gonna go a little bit on mobile. Ari wants to.
I would like to.
Yeah, Ari's gonna go. We talked about it in the car, and we said, "Hey, let's go a little mobile." Ari and I continue with the redesign.
Slim chances, chant this anthem, swing like beat samples, taking it straight to big man on campus. Brandish your weapon or get dropped to the canvas. Scandalous, made the metro panic. Call static, with or without the automatic. And while I'm at it, yo, you got cash passing, it's drastic. Got to send half the
Hey yo, waves are spinning, blades are spinning. Slay him in the 8th inning, stay truck, guard stay playing linen. Kill rap, observe the uptowns, whole feel that. Mink jeans on scene with a real at. 2,000 Zetos, moving with an ill ego. For real, ill lines, ill people, yo, bring it back. 9 more civilian. Poly and deals, monopoly and bills, y'all flying. Caught 300, lab look royal with a mean stomach. Go broke, all seen, done it. Words from the heavy set. If I don't eat, then we already met. Flies, broke, lava than coke.
Now what clan you know where live this hill? Bust shots at Big Ben like we got time to kill. Canjello, I'm just too hot to tell.
So it's really giving the point of view of an in-house designer. Talk about in-house web design, about being
I speak for criminals who don't pay their bills on time.
an in-house web designer.
Never seen smoke a bag of evergreen. My score got a Jones. More heads for the severance. Johnny in the dungeon. Taking off bets, throw your ones in. Scared money, don't
Yeah,
make money.
I think you heard me. Yeah, there you go. Vibrate. Stick around. Stick around. Watch his word. Watch his word. Okay, Ari and I continue with the redesign of the TWI website, TWI network. Focus on mobile, and our guest Eric Patrick and I talk about in-house web, about being an in-house web, about being an in-house web designer. All right. Yes. Yes. Tweet deck is closed. Do we have a group school card, title card, or am I going to talk about it and then go to Flickr at some point? We don't have a group school title card. We do. And then I can, excellent. Does it have the bit URL? Great. So coach me through at the beginning. Can you put up on here after we go up to what is it we call it? The drive, the user drive. I want to tell people where they can reach us. Go to Facebook. We're doing a drive. Yeah. So right at the beginning, I want to do it. Okay. Twitter, Facebook, and just. Ah man, I should have gotten some mouthwash. And then you start getting the design stuff ready so that it can go up, and then I'll start looking for my whatever I want to show and talk about. And again, the theme, we want to do a reset, and I'm going to bring this up. Group school, dude. Now I have the whole group school curriculum, like just pinned out, like right there. I have to bring it up, and it's on my screen. All right, gentlemen, let's go. So today, Ari and I continue with the redesign of the TWI network, focused on mobile, and our guest Eric Patrick and I are going to talk about being an in-house web designer and about being an in-house web designer Stick around and watch his work. God dang it, I'm right. Today, Ari and I will continue the redesign of the This Weekend network. We're going to focus on mobile. And also, our guest, Eric Patrick, and I are going to talk about being an in-house web designer. Stick around, watch us work. Welcome to episode number 38. I am your... I have to do it in Spanish. Welcome to episodio número 38. I can't even speak Spanish today. I'm your host, Jose Caballero, Chief Creative Officer of digital agency The Group. Every week you tune in to watch us work on web design projects covering everything from business, creative, marketing, and technology. I'm really happy today to have Eric Patrick, who's an in-house web designer at a company here in Los Angeles, and also a big fan of the show. And more importantly, he just finished doing group school 2 weekends ago now. Was that when it was? And we're going to have him here to discuss, again, what it's like to work in-house and what are the projects and the challenges that you have. We know a lot of you out there are part of in-house teams versus agencies versus freelancers. We want to cover all our bases. And in addition to that, very exciting, Ari and I are going to continue working on the redesign. And something I want to do today is focus a little bit on our audience and talking about growing numbers. I talked to a lot of you on Twitter. This past week, yesterday, I had a really great conversation about Full Sail, about the education in the digital space and what's available out there. And a lot of you, say, thank you for providing this. And in a way, I almost feel not necessarily surprised that people are so, not necessarily thankful, but that there isn't more out there like this, or you're just giving the insight of, look, here's what really happens on web projects. We're in a digital age. I read a great blog post today by Seth Godin talking about exactly what I've been talking about for years, that the economy is not going to provide a lot of new jobs. The network here that you're watching this week in network is really providing a lot of content around startups, venture capital, sales, music, web design, and it's going to continue to expand what we're doing. And really, ultimately, this is where it's at. Whether you're kind of paying a lot of money to Full Sail to become a web designer or you're doing it on your own, we really here every week want to share with you, really want to share with you what it's like. So what I want to ask you guys, for those of you who love the show, I want to ask you to spread it around and tell your friends about it. Here are ways that you can do this. First of all of the ways you can reach us, Twitter. On Twitter, you can reach us at This Week in Web. This Week in Web. Please go right now while you're watching this on YouTube or live and add us to Twitter. Facebook, go to the facebook.com/TWI Web Design, which is also our hash mark. So TWI Web Design. Very simple. This Weekend Web Design. That's the name of the show. Go to Facebook and like us. We want to get, we're like at 200 or something like that? Or
200, yeah.
Let's get to 500. I want over 4 weeks, the next 4 weeks, I want to, ask you guys, beg you guys to get us to 500 and tell your friends about watching the show if they're any type of web designer or whether it's a corporate client, an executive, whatever it might be. And Justin.tv this weekend, Justin.tv this weekend, that's where we're going to have live chat. So if you want to join us to chat next week, or if you want to join us to chat now, and you might be watching on the This Weekend site, you can log into the chat there at the bottom right. So getting right into it, Ari, how are you?
Good. Thank you for having me again. It's a welcome break from the craziness that...
Isn't it cool to do this? Actually,
so awesome. It's the best hour of the week for me.
No. I'm not going to curse because somebody on YouTube was saying that's curse. I was going to say no S. No beep. I agree. This is actually a real privilege to be able to share this with so many people. So again, we spend an hour a week on the show live, but also we're preparing for the show. Mainly, a lot of what we do is preparation for it. So let's take us a step back. I'm going to talk a little bit about group school, but I want to really focus on where we are. And if we can bring up my screen on the amazing technology that we have in HD. So this is a roadmap, and I want to do what in Agile or in Scrum is called a reality check or a mid-course correction, or like, hey, where the hell are we? If you've been watching the show since episode 20, you know that for the last 18 or 20 episodes, we have been doing the redesign of the network that we're on. So it's a very meta process. We're redesigning the network on the network. And really, in a way, it's the best way to share this with you. So right now, if you look at the timeline, we're in the green zone. We're in the first red. Right smack in the middle. We're beginning on template design and user interface, and doing the execution component. We've skipped a lot of these things. We've done actually, you know what? We're really in identity and visual design. we haven't done user stories very thoroughly, by the way, and it's something that I want to do. So I'm checking through here. So what are all the things? And I'll share this story very specifically. Recently on a large project for a large corporation, not dissimilar to your situation, except we're in the agency side. We're helping build an internal productivity application for them, and we do user profiles. We do very thorough kind of research on what the needs are and assessments, and the client provided very, very, very well executed requirements documentation. But we didn't do stories like a movie. Switch away from the requirements and all the other kind of technical stuff, and let's just say, okay, user Jenny, I'm going to make one up, comes to the website or to the application, and her goals are this, and her needs are this, and what does she do? In that process of telling the story, suddenly a lot of things come out that we might have not thought of with the left brain. So really telling the story in a very narrative sense does a lot. And I think that you experienced that at group school a few weeks ago. Tell me a little bit about, just tell me, what was your experience like at group school?
Group school is pretty amazing. I had an awesome time. The first week was a lot of just getting familiar with the process and the concept, was really new to it. And the second weekend, I really felt like everything was starting to make sense. So I could tell the difference between the goals and needs in one specific instance, and it was just a lot more fun because I was a lot more relaxed, a little more familiar with it. It wasn't so much information overload, but it's like really hands-on. So you don't, if you don't even really listen to what you're saying, you're doing the exercise.
So you don't have to listen to my boring lecture. You can just do the exercise. So no, if we bring up my screen while Eric is talking, you guys can see some new pictures of group school, what it looked like and what it was. I have them on my Flickr feed here. Thanks to my assistant, who's amazing, and Sophia Lopez, who took all the pictures during the event, and you guys can see them there. So what I heard from you was that you came to the first one, got a lot of the conceptual ideas, about user experience, came to the second one, now felt more comfortable because you've heard it, you knew the language a little bit, and understood what the differences or the distinctions were between some of them. And then it was easier to do all these exercises and to kind of like, this was the funnest part. If you look at my screen, if we bring it up, I'm going to back it up a little bit to, not to that, right there, like that blue wall where everybody was putting up their site maps and everybody was doing their work was really awesome to see. I was inspired, by the way, by the work that you guys did and how amazing it was that in one day, if you guys can, there's Eric. Bring up the IVGA again real quick. Right there you are talking to your team. And actually, the team to the left, I'll bring it back. Oh man, Flickr is like in a hurry. There's two people from Mahalo, which was great. So I think that's Steve. Yep. Is that right? He was awesome. He did a great job. He built the site during the damn thing, like in HTML.
I think the hidden value of your workshop is the soft skills, the working with the client, what to say when the client's getting off track, how to present it as a story, how to storytell, the soft skills of just working as a team when things are happening and you're going super fast. And I've actually adopted a lot of that mentality into my own work when I'm doing stuff either at work, my full-time job, or just personal projects. Whether I'm making a website for a friend or something, or a family member for free, I'm like sitting down and going, okay, I got 2 hours, I got to get all this done. And I found out that it's a lot less stressful because I'm getting a lot further, quicker. I'm getting more done.
Isn't that interesting?
And because I'm putting a time limit, and I'm getting creative. So
Scrum.
Yeah.
Agile. So one of the things that I did that you should have been there, dude, man. I really want you to.
I'm going to the next one from everything I've heard.
You have to come to the next one. One of the things that I did for this workshop was that I ran. Well, I always run them very tight and on time, and I promise people that they're going to get out of 5, and they get out of 5. But that I began teaching and being transparent about showing them the precepts of Scrum, of Agile, while I was doing it, while we were talking. And I would actually break the fourth wall of me teaching a workshop. Yeah. And I would stop. And I would then explain why I was doing, or why I was explaining what I was explaining the way I was explaining it, so that at the same time that I'm actually teaching the user experience portion, I'm teaching you guys as practitioners how to handle the client, because I was treating you guys almost as if I were moderating the client.
That was one of the biggest responses we got from your session when you were just sitting on your computer, episode 36, I think, or 35, was how much time you spent saying how much time you're going to spend on things and how you're trying to stick to that. I think that was a great example for people.
I am super I'm very, very creative and very ADD, and I know that. And it's hard for me to do a task. Just before this, I had to set a time limit on a task. I had a big deliverable for a client. I needed to get it ready. I needed to get out. If it's up to me, I am going to what my wife calls diddle daddle. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to go to YouTube. I'm going to go start watching that, and I'm going to get off track. I have to do that for myself, and it is extremely effective. An example, last week for a board member of the group who was extremely important for us to help out in whatever capacity, because they've been very generous in providing us with a lot of new business. I'm helping him with Janice, who watches in Latvia, and he's been very patient with me because I haven't provided a lot of site maps and stuff. He's doing a great job on the design. So I'm doing it with one of our viewers, and I sat down with a client using GoToMeeting. GoToMeeting is amazing. It's just they're not a sponsor, but I started using it so aggressively now. Everything I do GoToMeeting so people can see me. Anyway, and I did the story exercise with the client. Just walk through, bam, bam, what does the user do? And then after I read that, I highlighted what the key points were in the application. I sketched it out on white paper. I took a picture with my iPhone. I uploaded it to a Google Doc and gave it to Janice in Latvia.
That's
to
awesome.
start doing the screens. I would have been off track for days trying to do that. You're so effective. So to help in today's show, I want to tell me what you have seen and I'm going to bring up the group school system or the group system, and what I'm teaching here is based on this foundation that you see here on the screen during these 3 phases. You've been to inception and execution. Inception is what people also call discovery phase, and if we can switch me in the slide, the execution is really where you get into it, like building it. We've been in the idea phase. Now we're switching over here on this show, kind of to the building it phase. There's a few things that we've missed that we probably need to do, like the brief. We haven't really completed a full brief, and we haven't really done planning, which is what we're going to do in the next workshop, the Scrum planning.
Yeah.
What are the challenges that you face as an in-house designer? And let's talk about them, and let's kind of try to manifest them in what we're doing in RA and I as we're designing here.
I think the challenges are, a lot of times we have internal clients. So I work for a big
stakeholders.
Yeah,
basically.
I work for a big
they're
corporation.
Executives. They're executives.
They have executives, directors, and then managers.
Okay.
So there's usually 3 levels involved.
So executives, I'm going to sketch this out here.
It's a lot of people too. You were saying before.
Yes.
Okay.
And
so the challenge is stakeholders. Okay.
Also, we have a team that's off-site. So we have a main hub, and then we have people in a different part of the nation.
And it's a web team.
Yes, they're our web services team.
Got it.
And they build
Is tech divided from marketing? Are there 2 different teams with different managers, probably?
It's very complicated. We have IT, which owns mobile development and owns application development. We have web services.
Which owns a web.
Who owns web, communications, and other web
web
kind of applications. So a lot of internal communications.
So is that it too? Is there marketing, like a separate marketing kind of thing?
This is only
because you're only in web.
This is internal.
It's education focused.
Well, this is internal customers.
Got it.
So they do have marketing, but we don't touch that, or we're not involved in that at all.
Clear.
So.
Got it. Understand. So what would you say, based on the system and what we put up earlier, the challenges might be? I want to see if it even comes close. One of the challenges is, you're at an internal kind of, you're in the scenario that you're in, and you have an executive who, hey, I have an idea, here's what I want to do, and they think about it and brainstorm it on their own with all these they look at all the competition, and they come with a huge amount of requirements and say, hey, I want this.
Yeah, they definitely do that, and they do all the brainstorming by themselves. And so the challenge is when they come to us and they show us their pencil sketches or really rough ideas and explain it, it gets everybody's not involved in the process
earlier,
the whole way from beginning to end.
So they have no buy-in.
Yes, and the buy-in is at the end, whether it's like an iterative process where they come up with something and we go, okay, we didn't have a meeting, but we're going to have the small meeting with not everybody in it. Let's talk about it. And, sometimes everybody will be there, but it's mainly about who's doing what. It may not be so much
tactical,
about...
It's not about
more
the
like
idea.
You're doing this on this project, you're doing that. And it's not like more starting off from the high level, like this is what our goals are.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's who's going to use it. This is why they're going to use it. And it's all our internal customers.
So it becomes subjective, basically? It becomes what the executive thinks versus what you think?
It becomes a blend of many people's ideas over time, which is good sometimes, is not bad sometimes. No.
So to give you an echo of that, I see that all the time when we consult for companies. that's one of the first things I see, like how they're structured. So what I drew here, and what we do something. I separated marketing here on the left. What we do is for an engagement, and you know what? Remind me to put a project kind of structure, like a project charter, like what are the key components, ingredients that you want at the beginning of a project to make it successful. We do a project charter where we just basically is an org chart that outlines communications between us and the client. Like there's only one kind of, and our contract is the same, there's only one point of contact so that we sync in and we're syncing into whoever that might be, like a PM or something like that. That's to exclude, not because we want to, but because otherwise it's impossible to deliver a software application if you have to have everybody involved. Time is not, you're not going to be able to do it on time.
Yeah,
and
that
on budget.
totally just sparked one of the challenges, because a lot of times you're just talking to different people. So I do the design mainly in the UI, and I don't really code at all. But I'll talk to one of the web designers that does some of the coding, and the communication will get very
back and forth,
miscommunicated.
Do you do it over email primarily or in person? But do you have like daily Scrum meetings or no?
No, we don't have daily meetings. We have
you
a
guys
manager.
don't have any framework, yeah.
You don't have a
yeah,
framework.
exactly. We have a manager who has. We have a SharePoint, system where
for database for all.
Yeah, it's like an online spreadsheet where you can go in and edit, add comments, so you can track what you're doing. Doesn't really notify.
So it's tactical at that point. It's kind of block and tackle.
Yeah.
Can you bring up the title card for group school for the 14th and for the dates for it? I mean, one of the things. So the 24th. That's the wrong one actually. It's actually it's actually October 12th and 14th, I think. So there might be two, but ignore those dates. We'll cut that out. The group school that we're doing is really going to be pretty exciting, and I would urge you, and for your case, since you're an alum, and you should have 50% off to anyone in your company. Like it's $400, so $200. Scrum and Agile training is going to be what we're going to do in the next one, which is a framework for execution and for development. So I see that all the time, and I think I just picked my nose on air. Thank you for bringing up my name and my title while I'm picking my nose. Well, the point is that what I want to talk about, or what I want to share, is that this is a combination for me after 200 plus kind of projects over the last 15 years. I was telling Ari in the car that if we look through our servers, we're like, oh my.
And I'm sure there's stuff like if we're presented with it, it's like, oh really? Oh yeah, that's right. Oh man, that was like 3
the server
years
has
ago,
just there's 2 servers,
there's so
and just
much stuff.
One has over 100 projects.
There's so much stuff.
So the pain and all the kind of challenges and making all the mistakes and doing all the things that you do because it's a complex project. What I realized in the car was that the reason is because the final user is a human. So there's a lot of variability in how they're going to adapt the application, if they're going to do it at all. You're guessing what they want, and you're guessing what the interface between you and them is. And people exclude the user, which is there in the group system. Shiny object syndrome, which is, you want everything that's out there. Then brainstorming separately, not including your team as an executive or as me or as anyone, as a stakeholder. I do it sometimes. I make these same mistakes myself, not knowing your users, not really talking and understanding the users. So with that in mind, going back to my point, the realization I had is there's no way, absolutely no way. And the guy who trained me, Tony Wong, who's on the show next week, right? Yep. He told me a long time ago, Jose, it's a choice. You just have to choose. You can either work in Scrum and in Agile or not. And for you, it's easier because you're internal. So you already have things that are budgeted and that you understand the timelines. For us, we're selling this to a client. And agencies stay away, because they don't know Agile, they don't even know what it is in some cases, especially ad agencies. It's really for coding, and it's been developed for that. But we've adapted it for design to where our contracts are fixed fee. Hey, this project is $300,000, but it's variable scope. And we scope at a minimum, and we do a discovery phase, or the inception phase, what you see here in the idea phase. We actually cut it off, and we do that first under one contract, and then we proceed to, in that phase, come up with what the product is. Versus the client comes with the list and says, here, sign a contract for this product. You go through this all the time. you're going through it, almost now, where you have a fixed scope, fixed fee.
Right.
Then the client changes their mind.
Right.
And then you have to issue change requests or do it, one of the two, and then it eats into
I think
it.
what you were saying is key. Like, you have to be able, like, after you do it enough times, you almost learn to identify it at the beginning, and that can save you so many headaches. Like, if you're going...
Say it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Say that it's a risk.
Say that it's, it's kind of a problem if you see it at the, so many stakeholders, people that can't make up their minds. Like, structure the project in a way that will allow you to not go crazy doing it, When somebody's changing their mind, and then... it's kind of like, when am I going to get paid or whatever? It's always, that's kind of the challenge I'm going through right now, where I've done a certain amount of work and I just really need to...
Is it done?
Right. It's done according to me, right? But then the client is like, well, but I want to do all this other stuff. And it's like, okay, wait, this project it's a moving target now, and we need to, like, address it as such, right? It needs to be a retainer.
Yeah, you have to change the structure of the payment.
Have to change the structure,
but in Scrum and in the Agile flavor that we're going to be teaching at Group School number 3 at the 3rd module, you set the definition of done together. Like, what does it mean to be done? And you also set finite timelines. So there is no fuzziness over when is the payment or when is the completion.
Right.
That's the date.
Right.
You time box it to that date. What you did by that date, you're done.
Or
so
a list of deliverables that's super clear,
Yeah, the backlog and having a list. So we're 21 minutes in, and this is a really good conversation. And the final part that I'll say about it is this, that I now kind of, and I can say it right into the camera, and if you're a future client, past client, current client, it doesn't really matter. My policy today is just transparency 100%. Educate the client exactly what is going to happen, what are the risks, what are the pitfalls, even the stuff that isn't usually in client services you don't want to talk about. You want to kind of like hide and make it really, it's all going to be okay. I just bring it all out in the front.
Yeah.
And one of the things is that if we give you a fixed fee, quote, with fixed functionality as to here's how much it's going to cost to deliver this functionality, we are lying because we don't know.
Right.
We're basically doing that just so that we can get the contract signed. And there is going to be a change request in the future. So what we've done today is saying, look, let's be upfront about that. Let's do a discovery phase. Let's figure out what we're going to build during the discovery phase. You have low risk. After the discovery phase, you can do whatever. You can walk away. You can do it however you want to do it.
Right.
Or we can then move forward into the execution and the launch of the site. That reduces our risk, reduces your risk and our risk. And really, what is the risk? The risk is simple, is that as an agency, you're running it as a business, the service aspect. If you are not profitable, then you might as well not be in business.
Right.
So the challenge, the pain.
Yeah, Eric and I were just talking that before the show, is that's one of the biggest challenges.
And you cannot control. People who are out there saying, well, I can control my web projects perfectly. There's only one way that you can really control it. There's a couple ways. Big agencies do it this way. Come very much under scope and make sure that, what we might charge a couple $100,000 for, they're going to charge $1 million for, right?
Right.
Because you have a huge amount of kind of variability built into it. And then somebody else might charge you $10K, and people are like, what? Why
It's
are
the same
prices
amount of
so
work.
different? It's the same amount of work.
Right.
So it's going to be really contextual. So can you show what we were working on, Ari?
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically grabbing, like, the wireframes again. I'm starting from scratch. I'm doing something that maybe might fit a little bit better on a tablet or an iPhone with these tiles, and maybe like you click on one of these tiles and you see the show. I'm not really sure yet. I'm just kind of like fleshing it out, but again, I guess like the main thing I'm trying to do is to move it away a little bit from just
the web.
The straight up web kind of thing. Like you could see this on a tablet almost.
And that's a really interesting point because, one of the things that we're seeing in a lot of the work that we're doing is that a lot of the times the first question that comes up is, wait, somebody's probably going to be looking at this on a tablet.
Right.
And the consumption is so high right now.
And you almost have to like design it from the very beginning to deal with that.
When is that tablet thing that Jason's doing up in, do you know when the tablet thing is?
I can find out for you. It's coming up
We should
soon.
go to that.
I want to go to that. Jason, if you happen to be watching the show or watch it later, which you might or might not, but or anybody at the launch team, I would love to be there.
If we don't find it while the show's still going on, I will tweet
It's October
it out.
21st, so it's on my screen. If we can bring it up. There is a tablet conference, interesting agenda with a lot of really great people. Ryan Block from Gadget, who I sat next to at the last launch conference, talking about productivity, educational launch. So these are categories: games, break, entertainment. I definitely have to be here. Really, just to talk about the same thing that Evernote. The CEO of Evernote. I love Evernote on my tablet. that's actually one of the first applications that made my tablet worth something. Do you use a tablet?
I use Evernote and I use a tablet. We have work actually issued tablets for people that design curriculum on them. So we actually have a program called the Presidential Leadership Program. It's at the Reagan Library. Basically, we just use an existing app called either like Goodreader or something, or PDF Expert, and we just made a PDF and basically loaded the curriculum on that as opposed to printing it. And they have...
you showed me that. It was really cool, actually.
Yeah, so we have an actual program for leaders at the Reagan Library, because it's close in proximity. And we run our people through that, teaching about emotional intelligence and leadership through the iPad as the main curriculum delivery tool.
You know, it's interesting because that's actually not just a network. The group does a lot of work in education, and if we bring up my screen, this is something that we did scrum planning for yesterday at, and now I'm pretty exhausted, but we did sprint planning and scrum training at Blank Spaces, which is where we did the workshop, which we'll talk about a little bit, you know, how that was. So this is an education platform for sharing curriculum and sharing content across like a huge network, and it's a Drupal-based site. It's a pretty interesting and extensive site. Drupal is a great platform for it, but being able to search through curriculum, being able to search through class levels, and a lot of kind of different things. After doing this project, and you can bring this down, I'm committed to just working on education. Like I want every single project, and we haven't transferred our website yet or kind of changed our messaging around education, but we've done so much in the last several years and learned so much about the best kind of delivery mechanisms. This Week in Network redesign, actually, I've been learning a ton about how the users kind of, and it's specifically because I'm actually interacting with, you know, the audience live.
Yeah,
the
that's
live
been
portion
terrific.
of it. And you met Robert Haydock, who was here last week on the show. It's funny. This is like everyone has beards in this section. Like we need to get some.
The beard section. That's funny.
He talked about that, you know, and I mocked, kind of jokingly said, you know, that's pretty offensive. He said that he likes the live format better than like Lynda, like watching lynda.com.
Yeah.
Which is okay. I like Lynda a lot, actually, because you can really get to the content really specifically.
Yeah.
I think from the audience here, you have...
Yeah, we have a bunch of people talking. Just they're asking a lot of questions about how do they get their clients to start making decisions earlier on. A couple people were talking about how some of the stuff you were addressing, but talking about how they don't feel like anyone's taking their stuff seriously until halfway through the progress, or halfway through, where they actually start comparing what you're building to their competitors and how they can actually get them to start taking those questions earlier in the process.
You know, I went to an all-day thing with Seth Godin, who's a writer in marketing and a lot of different things, and he has a little booklet, and it's on Amazon. You can order it. I'm going to look for it, and it was called, what's the booklet called? I think it was called Launch It, or Seth Godin Launch It. I don't think Launch It is the right thing, but shoot, I'm going to figure out what the name of the book is. And he gave it to me, and I used it for something. I have it in my office. I need to kind of dig it up. Booklet. I'm going to search by booklet. Basically, he told the story that he... Ship It. It's called Ship It. Order this booklet because it is very similar to the group process, meaning like it forces you to identify a bunch of stuff at the beginning, and then it asks you to get yourself or whoever is... basically it's a workbook. You have to fill it out with all your goals and with all the kind of stuff what you want to do. And one of the things he told in the story is that he asked he had a job as a software project manager for a game design company, and the first thing he did is he walked in with the requirements to the CEO and said, I want you to sign off on this, and I want you not to bother us after today. And that was the way he launched on time. So the question that is being asked, I think that's okay. So you're responding to it, yeah, because until they start working on their website, they don't really actively or critically think about the website they use every day. So they don't even notice those things. But once they're in development mode, they get more active and they notice things, and that's when they start making changes. Yeah. So the mistake we make is that they're not paying attention at the beginning. They're paying attention when you're in development and when you're starting to see it on the website.
Prototyping.
Prototyping.
Yeah,
so
there
prototype
you go.
it early.
Magic word.
So talk about that. What does that mean?
I mean, just like a way where you can actually start to visualize what's being talked about, you know, as opposed to like just a bunch of abstract ideas or just thoughts going around. I mean, you guys are saying it, like when people actually see something, like they don't know what they want until they see it and they don't like it. You know, and if you can get that started early, is kind of like, well, you know, starting to identify what people are not, you know, what's not resonating with people. You can avoid.
I mean, that's something that even happens in game development. Until they actually physically have something in their hands, you can talk and throw up artwork and
like,
throw wireframes, and people are like, yeah, that's all.
And that's with everybody.
There's a certain amount of active engagement with people that you have to almost force them into, and that's what I think is great about the discovery phase, is that it's forcing people to break past that first barrier of imagination of like, I don't know what you're building, just make something. And then like if they're actively being in that first step of like, you're just pushing them under the surface just a little bit, it's great because you're at least getting by. And even if you're having people tell you, I hate everything you've done, at least they're checking off a list of stuff they don't want. And it helps out a ton.
It helps out a ton. That's a really good point. I mean, and the question on how to sell discovery phase, and you know, Save It said the Moscow method is gold. So Save It, the Moscow method is awesome. But I'm going to teach you guys, and I actually brought all my stuff for today, and it's in a Trader Joe's bag, which is kind of funny. But I have all my, like, the best project management tools. So I'm just going to pull this out real quick so you guys see an actual group project. So the one thing, the producer, this is the producer stuff. Awesome. There's actually a binder, a group recyclable binder with all of the particulars of the project, including, you know, invoices and all that kind of stuff. The producer keeps this, really. But our workbooks and the stuff that you're seeing in this process, it's all in this binder. Now, this is a repository, a physical one for the producer. But really, all the planning is really done using Scrum. All the planning is done on index cards. So the Moscow process is really great. One of the things that we you do during Scrum planning is that you actually give actual complexity and hours to it. So you can see the totality of a site. And it's actually really not, I wouldn't say padded, it's like you always underestimate.
Right.
The process forces you to overestimate, but not that unrealistically. And then because you're doing sprints, meaning you're not doing the whole project in one chunk, you can then gauge whether your estimation, how accurate it was in your first sprint. So a web project will average 3 months from beginning to end, development, etc., if you do it right. 6 months if it goes wrong and sideways, and a year if it really goes wrong, right? So that's when the projects, especially in corporate environments, you know, take that long.
We run into those problems all the time where we can't they're internal clients, so like they pay my salary, right? So I can't go, hey, this is it. But at the beginning we can say, you know, this is a problem, we can't do this.
So
by this time, and a lot of times they don't know. It happens the same way with the websites. They come up. They have to have a website for this conference. So they kind of don't really have any content. They don't know what they want on it. They don't know what the discussion topics are. Till maybe 2 weeks before the website launches. So it's a lot of, you know, WordPress templates or different things to kind of show them. You know, here's a shell.
With a bunch of filler text in it. Yeah, that's always great.
And then they can, you know.
But if you have user profiles,
it's not amazing, but
you can tell the story in a user profile, like conference attendee.
That would be great. Yeah.
You know, you write the story, and you know, I'll show you the. I'll actually show you the Google Docs. Somebody asked me on the Twitter. What was the best project management tool? I just actually showed everyone what the best project management tool I've ever encountered. I mean, and I've used a lot of software for project management, and this is the best project management software. This is the best software. Actually, if you look at when we had Scott Belsky, his application, which is pretty awesome. I used it for a while, and I have to kind of go back to potentially. Actually, I use these in my office on my desk. I can't even use software that easily, unless it's really clunky.
Well, we've demonstrated how fast and agile you can be when you're just doing chalkboard, like index cards, like really lo-fi stuff.
Lo-fi is really good. Like, keep it lo-fi. And here's the other thing. It's so digital. I went to art school, for Christ's sake. I paid a lot of money to go to one of the best design schools, you know, in the world. This is what you did. You did like, you know, hand stuff. I want to make the practice messy. I don't want to like be like just working in like it is not fun.
I think that's a really good point. I mean, I think doing that kind of like takes you away from that kind of rigid nature of the computer. It lets you be a lot more freeform. And I also think that I forgot what I was going to say. I think that it's just, you know, it's really good to like just do that, you know, just do things that are kind of like more hand done, you know.
Well, doesn't it does two things. If you're doing it with a group, it takes the like intimidation factor down, and it makes it feel like not one person's controlling, because everybody can grab a card, everybody can get up on a board, and then I feel like it keeps everything way more fluid. Like people were just like, just throw the. I mean, Jose, you did it last time. You ripped the card up and threw it on the ground, like, and it's finite and it's there, and it's just one idea, amongst a bunch of other ideas. It's not like you're sitting there in Illustrator designing something.
Right. I think what I was going to say too is that you don't spend that much time with maybe like a format that you don't need. You know, like you don't necessarily spend time on too much presentation and too much stuff where you can just really easily just get the ideas out there and move on. You know, and then focus on what you really need to do, which is like kind of like the finalized.
Yeah, we spend a lot. We end up wasting a lot of time doing comps and doing like really finished looking stuff.
And then it's like somebody.
And then it's wrong. And you have to change it.
You gotta do it in
and then you're pissed because you're like, I gotta change my comps. Yeah. Listen, I am the world's laziest designer. So I mean that's why I switched to directing. I have on my screen, you know, what happened the other day is that I was having a hard time figuring out. You know, again, and I go back, I've had this enlightenment about like, look, just do the process. Stop thinking about it like intellectually, just do the process. So this was a 1 hour, actually 45-minute call with a client, with a board member in Google Docs, where I basically wrote this story. He said, okay, what would a user go through in the experience with this company, with this brand, with what it is? And it happens to be a really cool kind of bread type of shop type thing. It's a new business, right? But you know, we had to do the iPad like cash register system.
Right.
So I was like, fuck, I can. Oh shoot.
That's all right. It's one. We give you one.
One, and we should do what Jason does: is a jar, put $20 in it. $20. Basically, the idea of going through and making the story then allowed me to sketch it, and I just sketched it on a piece of white paper.
Are we PG now?
Are we PG? We're trying to be PG.
We're trying to PG-13. You get one. You spend it well.
One, and I'll start saying frack like on
frack and darn.
We'll make up our own designer swearing.
There you go. Designer swearing. So the timeline and doing this and then highlighting what the items are. I had the content to put into my wireframes because I wrote out the story. Otherwise, I would have to think about this.
Right.
And just the thinking process hurts me. You know, of having to think because I'm switching gears from a million things to this. So I spend the time. I sketched it. I put it on Google Docs, and now we have a designer who's part of the network or is part of the who watches the show, who's helping kind of deal with this stuff. So I'm showing this, and you know, again. Hopefully it's vague enough that it's not specific as to the clients, but the idea is that it made my life so easy. Like I just didn't have to do anything. I just had to listen. You're just a moderator. That's all you have to do. Listen to the stories. Let the stories dictate the interface. Of course, then you have to give your professional experience, but my professional experience is only based on one thing. What I've seen work and what I have seen not work.
Right.
I have opinions that are not based on like my ego. They're based on, oh yeah, that's great. I don't know if it'll work. And if you tell the user that, or if you tell the client that, I don't know if it'll work. Let's try it out on a user. Sketch it on paper, or do a comp, or do a wireframe. Be honest and show it and say, okay, does this work better for the user?
That's been a theme over the last couple of episodes. Is just like transparency.
Complete transparency. And it seems like it's something that the more we talk to people, sometimes that's a really radical concept.
Right.
You know, whether it's dealing with in-house or whether it's dealing with a client that you're trying to, pitch in the discovery phase.
Right.
It seems like that's almost like a different paradigm. It's just like, here's the deal. You're wanting something radical. These are the risks. That doesn't seem like that's something everybody does when they're trying to get someone to sign on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like when you're asked something and you don't know it. Like I've been asked like if there's like metrics, like how do you know like if you have enough items on a list or something. Like some experts say this and that, and it's like, look, I don't know any like special metrics or anything. Like I do this stuff all the time. Like I can tell you from looking at something if it's got too much content or not, but I don't have like some fancy kind of like way to like measure it or you know.
You know what's really funny is that I think a good analog to this is we were talking about this before is the way Apple's UI design versus Microsoft's UI design. Have you guys seen the new Windows Explorer window for Windows 8?
I haven't seen it in detail. I've seen it like on the blogs.
If you look for it, there's a really long post where someone kind of like justifies at Microsoft why they've started adding the Office style ribbon and like 60 different buttons, and then you look at like Apple's interface design where they start pulling things away. Like there's this kind of like data driven like 80% of the people need these 3 buttons, but 30% of the people find these 5 buttons really important. And I kind of find it refreshing, like what you're saying is like, look, I don't have all the math or all of the like research data, but I've gone through user experience before. I feel that with my experience, this is the way to do it. I feel like that's refreshing hearing from, you know, versus the opposite point of view, where it's more of like
Where
just
I've
kind
got all
of
the
covering every
numbers
possible
and this is
perspective.
what the charts say, and right, exactly.
Well, the problem is that you can get really entertained by the whiz banginess of it all, and by the I see ad agencies just do this all the time. And here's the scenario, and I put it up on my screen so you guys can see it. There's the new concept. I even like, is that spelled right?
Yep.
Transparency. I had to kind of switch some projects into different gear, you know, over at the group. And one of the things that I hate having to bring up is the fact that we're focusing on the like on what the interface is and on what the tools are, what you're building.
Right.
But not focusing on the long-term cycle of the actual product. And I read a great blog post that I saw on Twitter from Oz Loveling, who was the first developer at Razorfish, and great guy. Hello, Oz, in New York. I know that sometimes you might watch. The article was about how Apple, when you bring a design concept to the table, you don't bring the device, you bring the whole like life cycle of the device and the upgrades and how it's going to live within the context of the user. You bring the whole user story of your relationship with the interface. We don't design interfaces.
Yeah.
We do not design interfaces. We design mediation between brands, products, ideas, etc., and people within a digital environment. It changes, you know, in time. Tablets, you know, web, mobile, it's going to change. But the only real mediator, or the only real constant, is that the user is ultimately the arbiter of what you're doing. And what I brought to the table in this case scenario for ad agencies, you know, that they get kind of, because they're used to the fact that their impact usually comes from the wowness of the idea. They're idea driven, you know, like a lot of people we saw ideas. And that's because television and, you know, print, etc. is about calling attention.
Right.
And in the case scenario of interactive, there's obviously ads, which is about calling attention. But forget about the ads, you know, F the ads. How can we build applications that are utilitarian to the particular user within the category, with whether it's your company, which you do build applications for your internal teams, whatever it might be. How do you do that? One. But then when you're doing it, don't worry about about doing it. It's kind of like, you know, sports. You choke when you're thinking about it too much. It's really about the entirety of the life cycle of the particular product and how the user is going to use it. And I have all the goal orientation versus the features orientation.
Right.
Like you focus on features, getting all these features.
Right.
Features,
How are we going to make money off this thing?
Well, it's not how we're going to make money. In the case of an ad agency, is how is it going to get users, etc.
Right.
Part of it is that it's an experiment, no matter which way you slice it, especially in social media, and you have to do very incremental releases and kind of test it out. In game design, you know, we had a great call this morning, and Shin, who's been on the show, talked about, look, you really don't know, and you can't fine-tune the games until you really start releasing them and doing game testing.
Right.
Especially online games. Yeah. Anyway, you're going to say something.
Yeah, the on the user, doing the user stories, the beginning of it, defining your brand and the users for your website is just so key. All your features are going to come out of that. You're going to think, the better you know the customers and who they are and what they want from your company, or how they participate with your company, then you can develop. You will see the feature will come out of that. You'll understand, I want this on my site because so-and-so wants to go into this. For example, I did a little user story over the weekend for my father. He's an insurance broker. And so there's several different types of users. One, you know, business people that refer him already. Realtors, whether it be realtors. Yeah. They may not even have a policy with him, but they refer business to him. Then there's the loyal customer. He's been in business 27 years. You know, they want to connect more with him. They want to get more personal with him. They want to know him more.
Yeah.
They want to, you know, have more of a
rapport, or like a
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they've known him and they've been with him for a long time. They've supported you a long time. And then the other one is more of the, hey, I don't want to talk to an agent, but I want insurance. And I don't want to. So what do you need? You need something for people to apply for insurance online. You know, you need some. Maybe you promote the people who promote you, who give you referrals. Maybe you have a section where you have a preferred vendor list and you divvy out.
That's a good idea.
You divvy out referrals. So I did this over the weekend. These are the features that came out of my. And I didn't even do it that thoroughly because I know my dad's customers. All I did was scribble it down super fast. It took me an hour max.
But you did the whole thing in the workshop over the weekend.
Yeah.
You did it in 2 days. Like
exactly.
we did we did in that workshop what we would charge, you know, $50,000 to $100,000 for in 2 days. Now, if a customer knew that you can actually do the work in 2 days, you know, they wouldn't necessarily be too happy. But what takes up the time is really going to be the planning, the meetings, the discussions, the preparation. That's the hours. It's a consulting business. You're getting paid for the time, not necessarily just for the output. And it's also a lot of thinking that goes into it, and a lot of back and forth.
It's not very logical. It's not like, hey, I need a shoe. So you know you got a material and put the shoe together, right? And you sell it, right?
It's not left. You know what? It's
all you got to do is
it's
get
not
the
that
size
left
right.
brain. Well, you talked about selling. One of the things that I've noticed is that everything I read in sales books about like what good sales means, like knowing your customer, all these kind of different things, is the user experience process. Is this idea of really getting to know and channeling your users. But we're talking about all this stuff in users, and how does that become tangible? How does that become, like, how do you begin translating those things? You know, and I showed a little bit, you know, kind of doing the sketches based on the features, based on the story. You did it over the weekend. Ari, let's look at what you're doing, and let's look at the stories that we're building. And let's kind of pretend. Here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to write down the story of whatever you bring up. Okay. And we're going to try to validate
Let's do it backwards.
Let's do it backwards. This is kind of like an assessment of the story. So, and again,
you know what I need? The logo. Do you have that logo you did last week?
I do have it. You want it again?
Yeah, I would love to.
Let me give it to you. But what questions in terms of for the network, since you're also our client, what questions would you say come up in the stories that so far we've told? We have the users, we have their needs, we have their goals. Right. But we haven't really we have the stories that we see from people that we come into contact. What stories would be interesting while I bring up this logo for Ari?
In terms of how they interact with the site, or
yeah, like what would be the story of one of our users, and I have to bring up our users.
We have the great one of actually one of our producers who's in the middle of changing careers and how they want to interact with the network to successfully start taking that career on, and we're kind of halfway through that user story. Cheryl Anderson, like I don't know if she made it to group school, but she's been interacting with you, and she's been looking for more content. So we've been trying to highlight other shows that are relevant, whether it's just inspiration for other people who are in the same kind of situation, or like something like This Week in Sales, where we're in the early stages and we're trying to craft shows for specific people. You know, part of what I've been thinking about is what kind of things would Cheryl Anderson want from This Week in Small Business, or This Week in Sales, or This Week in Venture Capital. So I don't know if that answers your question.
It does, actually, and it actually gives me a bigger question, which is, as we do this story, instead of thinking of the story from a singular standpoint, what if we think of the story from a multiple standpoints based on the needs of that particular user? And what I mean by that is that the user, and going back to this idea that we said earlier about the Seth Godin article about the future and that, you know, jobs, etc. You know, we have a great opportunity to really be at the forefront of this kind of shift, you know, in history, and also of a revolution. You know, it's an entrepreneurial, and I hate the word entrepreneurial at this point, because everybody thinks entrepreneurial and they think, you know, of the risk and the, it's self-sufficiency, I think is a better word. I mean,
you know what, I don't know if you saw it, but Jason just wrote a really great article on Launch about the whole Occupy Wall Street movement.
I just saw the article this morning. I was in middle meetings.
It's an interesting tactic where you know, those people are pushing for something, and he has a great viewpoint where you know who's radical? People like Airbnb. People who are going out and disrupting an entire industry, and instead of sitting back and, I'm not saying I 100% agree with it, but instead of sitting back and saying these are all the horrible things that are happening, going out and actually doing something about it. Going out and actually applying the same level of anger and frustration and disappointment and feeling of helplessness, and trying to flip that. Trying to say, like, I don't want to be helpless anymore, I'm going to actually, and that's kind of the model of
I'm not going to quote Obama and say stop whining, you know, and stop complaining. You know, we have been in an entrepreneurial, quote unquote, or self-sufficiency experiment for 15 years, or actually 10 years, part of it in downtown LA. Look, self-sufficiency is getting up, doing it, exactly what you're saying, disrupting business models. But here's the thing, how do I start? So going back to Cheryl Anderson, who's kind of making that transition, I'm going to bring her up in terms of her user kind of profile. And then let's just really quickly, you know, we're at the 48-minute mark. Let's work backwards and let's really build the story. So we call her Rebecca Morse. She was a TV producer. She's successful. She started the grind. And her 3 needs are guidance and examples. How do I start? I've talked to Rebecca Morse on the phone about this same issue. Not Rebecca Morse is a fake name, but to a person. She needs efficiency, meaning she's busy. She might have kids. She might have, you know, actually she has 1.5 kids. I don't know what the half a kid is, but
that's her job.
Okay, yeah, she has a kid and a half. The cool. Oh, you're talking about how we've adopted it in the show internally, the Moscow. But back to Rebecca, you know, her goals are really freedom and flexibility, and exactly what you're talking about, the Wall Street kind of thing. You don't want to have to be dependent on corporate jobs if you don't need them. If you're creating new, Etsy is a great example. You know, Airbnb is a great example. All these tech things, if people knew that it wasn't about necessarily just technology, it's really about the idea and the ability to move the idea forward. So if you know ideas, if you know the language, if you have a tool like as simple as this to kind of do execution, building a culture of execution. I said that in a meeting this week with a really great client who I really love working with. Because we're doing it like if it was group school. We're coaching the process through in their internal team. So it's a team like yours, but we're really working with them to put in place the framework for execution. We're not just doing it for them, because we can come in and take it away from them and say, we're going to go back to the group downtown. We're going to do all this stuff for you. We're going to come back with wireframes. We're going to come back with, you know, comps, and we're going to do your site. Done. Bam. Paying us to do that.
And that's the major challenge, is to get your customer or my internal customers to believe in that process, well, to understand it enough to know, hey, this is really good.
That's the crux of it. In my shift in my mentality has been that I cannot work with a client, small and large. I mean, because you go into the corporate world and you still have some issues. We're working with a large corporation that already adopts, you know, Scrum or Agile, who already understands it with the development team. So you're kind of, at that point, you kind of know how to dance a little bit together, and now you can plan. It's a little easier, right?
In my situation, they don't necessarily have that, and the customers come up with it however they come up with it.
50%, look. Heck.
So we,
I'm
trying to figure out how to bring it in. Bring one person for free.
How about that? You can bring one person from your office for free. Everyone else 50% because you're an alumni. You get 50%.
I've asked some people to come. Actually, I was like, you got to come.
But I'm gonna give you a code so they don't have an excuse. If they don't show up, it's actually better to charge them because they'll be forced to show up because they paid for it.
Then they won't.
If you give it to them for free, they're like, well, you know, I'm not going to show up. But the culture of execution aspect. But okay, so let's go to Rebecca Morris instead of drifting into So Ari, bring up what you have and let's write a story backwards. So Rebecca, I'm gonna bring the story of Rebecca Morris, her three things.
Do we have my screen somewhere?
Yeah, we can get it. Yeah, we can get it.
Oh, we're getting it. Great. That brings up a really good two things that I thought based on what you were just saying. Client education is one, like making sure your clients know the value of what you're doing. I think that's super key. And then the other thing too is that, you know, just so they won't turn around like in the future and kind of change stuff on you, you know.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, there you go.
So this is tablet. Can you screen shoot it and put it inside a tablet?
Yeah, that's actually really good.
You know, I think the icons are a cool idea. I don't think the icons are right in terms of the visual language.
I mean, I'm kind of like just sketching it out at this point.
I don't know. I totally like the concept.
I do like the idea of like kind of lower-fi icons that go with some type of photography or more images, because there's something nice about that kind of like hand constructed.
Oh, you mean the visual language being lo-fi?
Yeah.
Interesting. You know what?
There's
It could
a nice
be if it's
there.
education, it could be kind of like not chalkboard literally, but something.
I like the hand-done idea for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of becoming a little bit of a cliche with the like all the explainer videos, and everybody's kind of just doing these like non-intimidating kind of hand-drawn quality. But I still like it though. There's something where that with good photography that it fits really nicely.
It's a nice contrast.
I had not thought about that, by the way.
I like that.
I had not thought about that for the network. Like to have a
What's
sense
the total
of
opposite of what we've been doing? We've been doing like really polished, really flashy, really like overdeveloped for each show. But that might be a nice visual language to unify the whole thing together.
What if we for the identity from a and this is going back, if we go back all the way, and this is nice that we're at least we have this framework to discuss. So This Weekend Network provides educational and entertaining videos to educate people with direct access to the host and in an intelligent way to help them be empowered and make money, which is basically that's kind of now sounding kind of funny. But meaning to be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
So back to the,
it goes back to the same idea.
Wall Street issue.
Yeah.
So that's what the network is doing and helping empower people. I do like the idea of, in a way, having the visual language not necessarily be trying to replicate kind of a very slick and commercial network.
Yep.
Like where it kind of feels a little bit more.
But you know,
it really
really
stands out.
Or a hybrid of it.
Yeah,
it's
an interesting challenge because we were talking about it. I was writing up the blurb. We have a mailing list, by the way, for anybody who's interested. If you go to the This Weekend.
Do we have a card for that?
I don't think so, but if you go to the thisweekend.com, one of the buttons across the top is mailing list. But I was just writing the blurb, and it was realizing that it's a difficult challenge. Like, you're trying to make something that looks totally different from the rest of the kind of like podcasting networks that are out there. So you're trying to find something that's its own identity. But then we have such a wide-ranging group of subject matter. Like, you look what we've done and what we've covered in the past. Like, how do you make one identity that covers something like web design or video games, but then to cover startups and venture capital, and speaks to all of those. So when you see it, it looks like This Weekend, but then it also looks different from everyone else.
It's back to the quilt idea. I mean,
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but
I like the quilt.
The idea of basically bringing on this language of all the different things being the language, or we even did it in that gradient kind of form, and we can build potentially a system that mirrors the curriculum. Now I'm having that idea, and that's something that we could potentially do here. But the end portion of it, to bring it back to the story of Rebecca Morse, is that the end story of it is actually the fact that she can choose what are the things that within the network she can pick to help her in her current situation. So, or where she in the transition she's doing. This Week in Web Design, there could be This Week in Design. There could be
like you build your own
This Week in
kinda
Sales.
like pattern thing.
She might want to do a startup. I know for a fact that the Rebecca Morse I know has done or has switched into helping startups from film producing. Now, what if she wants to do her own startup? Like, what are the tools that she needs? So This Week in VC, This Week in Startups.
This Week in Startups. This Week in Web
Her
Design,
husband is a
sales.
developer, so they could potentially kind of do that
that's the
together.
interesting thing about where the network is going, is that there is a specific through line for some of our users that takes them through 90% of the shows. You know what I mean? Like there are some, probably one or two of the users we've already defined that as they go down the line, they can go web design to startups to venture capital.
Go back to that comp and actually change the username to Rebecca, Rebecca Morse.
You know what, like that thing of like the interface kind of reconfiguring to your preference.
to your preference.
What I would love to see, even that grid that you have with the colors, where as it goes across, you start seeing, according to your color coding system we did like 2 weeks ago, where they're mostly a greenish blue, and then here's one suggested orange show that may not be totally related, but because we've watched your habits and we know who you are and you've made comments and you've interacted, we really think that This Week in Sales might be something worth watching.
And we're building in Drupal. We can do a real simple kind of like I was showing in that curriculum structure that we're building for this education platform, where you can just say explicitly,
you know what, this one that I
want to start a startup, and I have this check. This topic matters, and what we'll have to do is we'll have to tag the shows.
And there's so many great things you can do with that. It's going back to what we were doing probably a month and a half ago, but that idea of the quiz or the test, and now that we have kind of a fully featured mailing list, where as part of that test at the end, you're like, what of these shows interest you? And that automatically kind of pre-populates, like, it's just entering you in the mailing list, but it also says, oh, here's 3 episodes of the different things you thought you liked, and it kind of pushes up. I think there's a lot of stuff that's slowly building itself.
I was going to say that this one I did is a signed out version. This is kind of what you get when you first arrive on the site and you're seeing all the colors, and then I would have to do a version that's Rebecca.
That's signed in, that's Rebecca.
That's got all her stuff, like her,
So she might have like this weird kind of potpourri or quilt, like we were saying, of you know, This Week in Startups with Jason, you know, This Week in Transformation, and This Week in Venture Capital, you know, and that.
It would be such a great tool, even as a producer, if I wanted to go and look through any of my viewers' profiles. Just a color-coded thing where I can see, like, okay, I want to target 10 of my viewers and just visually, literally see, like, I'm going after people who are mostly orange with 1 blue chip or 1 cool color chip, and target those guys.
That's really interesting.
That's
taking
something
the assessment to that another level. And what we're doing in this platform that we're building right now is that you can do buckets, and they're not called buckets, they're called baskets, I think. Where you can put all the type of content that you like into a bucket, and then it attaches itself to one of the primary one of the primary profile types. So I'll give you an example. If we had this week in music, right? And then you have Pensado's place, and then you might have, you know, another kind of potential kind of relational kind of thing as a basket that user can create for themselves, and that basket gets then transferred to the iPad app. So when they come in, they come up, and it's just the latest episodes of all 3.
I love that idea of a user, as they start doing stuff, it transfers back and forth between all their experiences, and then us as producers can use that as a guide for new people coming in. Where, you know, if we had a couple power users that had that whatever it would be, Pensado's Place Music and startups, and we've looked at what your kind of like testing has said, and we're like, oh man, you should really follow user X because he's really, you know, almost exactly like you, and here's a playlist that follows pretty much his same patterns.
I love that. Yeah. So let's go back to the design, see a little bit of where that is at. I think that we're coming up with a lot of really good ideas. Let's look at it, give it a one final look. We're at the 15-minute mark. Hello to Crowd Tuner, to Robert Haydock, who's now back at home. I hope you're well, that your flight went well. Thank you for being on the show last week. And you know, again, I love hearing Robert talk about what his experience was at group school. I love hearing you a little bit. I mean, I just uploaded to YouTube. I had somebody in the office upload all the testimonials from this last group school, which is going to be a pretty awesome to kind of see, kind of like what people. I don't like the YouTube interface. What people talked about, you know, during what people got out of it. And I'm bringing it up on my screen, even though it doesn't have volume. If you go to, I'll bring it up to the YouTube, to the front end of the YouTube channel for the group, and then also put them on the groupschool.net. So the next one, you're going to be there.
Yes.
And we kind of work the dates out around your schedule. So it's on the 14th, and we don't have a title card for it, but it's on. It's actually on the 12th and 13th. So Saturday the 12th and Sunday, November 13th. Did the 2 days go by fast, or did it feel like it was forever? The pace.
You mean the 2 days?
Yeah.
Oh, the 2 days went by really fast, but it felt, the first 2 days, the first weekend felt faster, and then the second weekend felt a little slower, because I think it was
you went to the first weekend, so you're a little bit more experienced. The people that had just gotten to this one, they were like stressed. Yeah, they were like, wow.
But yeah, it wasn't the second, you got to go to all three because it builds. You're building certain skills, and
but if you didn't come to the first one, you could still have done the second one.
Yeah, the second one was a lot of review, and I liked that because I relearned everything, and really got more comfortable with the main parts, was the branding, the user stories, and how that translates into the features and telling the story of the customer, user, and why that relates to the company and why they would want to use.
It's the triangle of love.
Exactly.
It's the user, the brand, or the company itself. And your goals that you want to set. That's a very simple, that's a really simple kind of concept. You have to bring those three together, articulate that story, and make your interfaces around that triangle of love. That's what we're going to call it now.
We need an overlay graphic.
I'm going to get a t-shirt that says a triangle of love.
We need an overlay graphic, so when you do that, we have like...
Oh yeah, we need to do a triangle overlay, and that would be funny. But would you recommend for corporate people who are inside a corporation, there's lots of them in entertainment here in LA, etc. Would you recommend them coming to the next group school?
Yeah, I think I actually wanted to learn what was in group school number 3.
So let's talk about group school number 3.
I was like, I need this for what I do. And
let me show you. And if you follow my most recent tweets, and Crowd Tuner's flight went well. Thanks for having me on the show. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for being here. We need to continue talking about the product that he's doing, which is pretty awesome. So here's what's going to happen at the next group school. So we did all these user profiles, user stories, brand attributes, all this kind of great stuff. We started doing wireframes. The first thing that we're going to do in group school 3, you're going to have the creative brief from all those other group schools ready. Okay. So like you'll have, which I'm giving you basically the creative brief from that scenario that you did, which already exists because it's an actual case study, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to have that brief, just like Ari had it, and like the team that actually executed on that had it. And now that you have the brief, the first thing that you guys are going to, and you're going to have wireframes that will give you wireframes, or you can use the wireframes from some of the people that are repeating. And now you're going to do a little bit of design, like actually the production aspect. Ari's going to be there, right? Actually, no, you're in Venezuela, actually.
Oh, man.
Are you in Venezuela?
November.
November 12th.
What? No, I'll be back.
So Ari's going to be talking a little bit about production. That's the first day, so we're going to get some screens done. We're also going to have a developer for the next day, and it's the launch. If you look at the group process, and if you look, if I bring it back up, and we're at 103, and we'll wrap up in a second. I'm getting the, let's wrap it up. So if you go back to the, and this is kind of built in a fancy keynote, but it's actually the QA, launch planning, and user testing toolkit. How do you do those things based on the user stories? How do you get confidence in your launch, adoption of your product, and able to learn from the launch, on an iterative basis. So those three things are kind of the core, but that's going to be done. The launch plan kit is really about learning how to do Scrum, learning how to do Agile. specifically Scrum, and in a very orthodox way. So you're going to actually do Scrum planning on the first part. You're going to get trained on the first day, and then the next day you're actually going to use the plan that you're training to do a plan and execute the site. Now, keep in mind that this is a mock. You're not actually executing the site, so we're going to have some exercises that replicate the idea of execution. But you'll have developers there. You'll have a scenario very similar to the last one. And somebody said that we should tape it and make it into a reality show. Because I was saying like, all right, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, and everybody's like scrambling to get their stuff ready. All right, put your index cards down.
Techstars has their reality show. We can do ours.
We should. Do they do? I haven't seen it actually.
Yeah, it's on TV. I forgot what channel it's on. But we have This Week in Techstars, and almost I think right after we started talking,
I haven't seen it.
It's like a 6-part. Yeah.
It was fun. So,
yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So the real key is that you're going to learn the concepts of Scrum. I mean, if you follow my tweets, you can see kind of like what that looks like, and actually on Facebook also too. I love the fact that there's so much data and media kind of happening all over the place. So if I look at my Facebook, you can go in it and I bring it up. Here's Scrum planning, what that looks like. Like I said, a lot of index cards. That's what you're going to learn. And you notice that the developer, there's the 2 developers on the left, the producer on the left, the client on the right. You see that what we have on the monitor at blank spaces? We have the wireframes. So we're actually doing the planning, and the developers asking questions about the wireframes in one day.
That's
you
awesome.
do the planning in one day. Instead of having all these questions open and like all these kind of challenges happening in the execution, you do it in one day. So that's what's going to happen at Group School. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be really dynamic. If you go to the Group School website, it's really easy. The URL is Group School. So school with 2 O's and a K, just to be fancy. And you can see the ticket pricing. If you're a member of the producers program, you're executive producer, you're free. A regular ticket is $425. If you're an alumni, it's 50% off for your mates. Or I'll give you one for someone that hopefully will come.
I will. You know, I'll get somebody from
a manager or get whoever. A developer.
It would be interesting to get a developer or a manager would be ideal.
Try
to see the communication and how that happens between.
Send
designer
them the video.
And developer.
Send them the video. I'm going to do the Group School newsletter this week, which is a video newsletter. It'll go out when I send it to you. Share it, because I'm going to talk about it from the problem and solution standpoint. And finally, early birds, 5 people, $325. All Mahalo employees get to go for free. And anybody who works for the network. And that's it. I mean, it's go to groupschool.net, check it out. I haven't put up the entire kind of curriculum, but you can get a sense of what it's going to be like. And I've already told you here, the videos are going to be up. It's in about a month.
We put up something on the blog too, didn't we? A Group School proposal template?
Yes. If you go to This Week in Web Design, a lot of people ask me, and this is a huge challenge because I get asked on Twitter, if you start watching on episode 20, which is the beginning of this project, we showed the proposal for the This Week in Network redesign. And one of the challenges has been that people request it, and then I have to add them because there's a form that you have to fill out to get the free proposal. You're going to get access to a very cool set of templates. It's not the producers program. You're not getting everything you're getting. But if you go to the group, go to thisweekinwebdesign.com, check out the producers program here, and it's starting at $5. So $5 you can start being involved and really and CrowdTuner, tell me, has it been worth to be a producer of the show, to be in the producers program? I mean, you're one of the people that has had a lot of great benefits from it, and you're going to see a lot more in the testimonials. But now there's a big ass red module right there that you can't miss. That looks good, dude. I like it.
It's a good system.
You did a really great job. Free Group School proposal template. Sign up here. And you're going to click there, and it's just going to take you to a form that you need to fill out on the group site that will get you access. It'll take about 24 hours, maybe 48 sometimes when I'm... and let me know via Twitter. So let's wrap up the show. That kind of concludes today. We're about 8 minutes over. Again, please go to, and if we can bring the title card up one last time, to go to Facebook and to go to join us on Twitter. Go to facebook.com/thisweekinwebdesign. Ari, you think we can make it to 200 in... Wait, are we at 200? We're at 200. What's our goal? 500
in 4 more
weeks.
Let's
go to 500.
We can totally make it. We just need to rally the troops.
Let everyone know, at your agency, at your internal corporate job, somebody from Full Sail that I want to have on the show actually as a guest via Skype was saying that, hey, we should have this class at Full Sail. Let us know what you want. It's your show. we do the things that our viewers request and that they want to see. Eric, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Let us know anything you need between now and group school on the stuff that you're working on.
For sure, yeah. And I appreciate you always incorporating my feedback about having them more closer together to get all those group schools in this year. It was really nice.
Eric has been a great user testing case in that I've incorporated a lot of your feedback for the school. Like one of the first feedbacks you had in the first forum was to make it a little bit more the case study to be more fixed. I think you were the one who wrote that potentially.
I don't remember.
Oh, somebody wrote it.
I was like,
so I incorporated it into the next group school. So it's like user testing. You improve it. But thank you guys for being here. Ari, thank you.
No problem.
It looks awesome. Next week, let's actually put it on a tablet and let's show it to Jason.
I'm thinking about making a second stream of just Ari's screen. We get so many requests during the show of like, can I just see what Ari's doing? Ari's so fast. He never stops using his stylus. What's going on?
But you know what? We have to do the user, like the signed-in user.
Let's do the
Well, you know what I'm thinking about doing? I don't know if you guys have heard of Chill.com. The guys who are kind of doing.
Oh yeah, you can watch. The audience can watch.
So it's kind of a little bit like Turntable, but for streaming video.
Streaming video.
I got a call this week with one of the head guys at Chill. I'm thinking about talking about having just Ari's screen on Chill.
That'd be awesome.
So people can just sit and watch you the whole time. They can have one monitor that's just the chill room where they can just sit and watch Ari work, and then they can have another stream of everything that's going on.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Like mixing.
That'd be great.
That's awesome.
That'd be awesome. And we're working on producing more content for the producers program.
We have some plans. You guys might be getting a lot more short form content coming soon.
But in order for us to be able to do all this, we need your support. We need to see the numbers. I mean, I'm very serious about this. CrowdTuner, like, let all your friends know. We should send everybody like a little email kit. Like, here, send this to all your friends.
Everybody that was at the workshop.
Everybody that's at the workshop, I have to email them soon tonight with access to. They get a lot more than what anyone else gets. Even they get as much as the producers get. They're going to get all the templates. So thank you guys for watching. Join us next week again, basically to watch us work.
Here goes out to all the babies, mamas. Baby mamas. Yeah, go like this. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. I am